I look forward to it as well.
Later, Vice President Harris will meet separately with the Prime Minister. The Vice President spoke earlier to the National Convention of the American Federation of Teachers, suggesting she and the union have some common foes.
While you teach students about our nation's past, these extremists attack the freedom to learn and acknowledge our nation's true and full history, including book bans. Book bans in this year of our Lord 2024.
Vice President Harris also putting out a statement condemning the sometimes violent protests in Washington yesterday that saw demonstrators pull down American flags, burn them, and replace them with Palestinian flags. National Security Council Communications Advisor John Kirby acknowledges Iran is backing some of the protesters.
The Director of National Intelligence came out publicly and said that we do know that Iran has been funding and encouraging some of the protest activity here in the United States. Some of it.
Kirby says some of the protests are organic. The House today voted to condemn the administration's border policies and Vice President Kamala Harris for supporting them.
We all remember the widely publicized delegation that Vice President Kamala Harris conducted and led, saying, "Do not come, do not come." And millions of illegals poured into our country since then.
New York Republican Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, 6 Democrats in the House voted for the resolution. Wall Street, an hour before the close, the Dow up 235 points. America is listening to Fox.
NYPD officer Jonathan Diller's tragic story made national headlines this year. Now, Jonathan was shot and killed by a career criminal during a traffic stop. Jonathan, who is just 31 years old, leaves behind his wife Stephanie and 1-year-old son Ryan. Now, nothing will ever replace the loss of a husband and a father, but the Tunnel to Towers Foundation was able to pay off the mortgage on the Diller family's home. Please commit to $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Hear that? The sound of water being poured on 800-degree rocks. If you were here in this sauna, you'd be so hot you wouldn't have the energy to move. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens out on the road, riding your motorcycle protected by Progressive. Besides, after a long ride, a helmet sweat is way more satisfying. So if you ride, switch to Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer, without even breaking a sweat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Look out. It's only me. It's only the Kim Air with Pete Davis, sidekick producer, and sports raconteur extraordinaire, and the mechanical Magler at the controls. Flounder, and it's 3:03 for you and me and your Thursday, baby.
The day I was born.
By the way, we'll have a special guest at 5:30 today, our buddy Shannon Burke from down in Florida Man Country, around 5:30 this afternoon, so that'd be kind of cool. And 3:03, Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. Here's the number, 404-741-1230. In a bad to the bone, 741-1230. Well, here we go. It's a nice, man. There's so much. It's hard to, there's really no top story. There's like 8 of them. President lying skankmouth so-called address to the teleprompter last night. I don't know what, there's no other way to say it. Anyway, before we get started, Pete Davis, Mountains of Macon. By the way, the sun's out. Looks like it was a little rainy early coming in. Looks like a nice day and cooler. Anyway, what's going on with you up there? Lowering your shade?
I saw a one-armed man yesterday.
You saw a one-armed man?
A one-armed man. He was shopping at a second-hand store.
A second. I thought we had to think about it. Flounder, I thought we were going to have some way to... Is there like a delay, or is there any... I could be tuned out, or is there a...
I could dump it if we need, if it's that bad.
God.
You could tape me like Biden did last night.
Can you believe that? Holy crap, his watch says 6 o'clock.
That's how they tell him it's early.
My God. By the way, one more quick thing, and before I forget, I saw on the video covered on the news, Carmela Sidepiece, the border czar, the failed border czar, was being introduced at the teacher union girls thing with the big convention today, where her speech today, and said, "And now, Vice President Carmela Sidepiece." Pause. pause. Camera pans left, pause. She was late to her own introduction to her speech, and eventually she comes strutting out there with a big cackling laugh anyway. We got all this stuff. We got Donald Trump and his reaction to things. We've got whether or not he was actually... Now they're calling it... His team has come out with a statement just this afternoon saying this conspiracy BS that the administration's ready, that Trump may never actually have been shot. It may have been a piece of shrapnel that hit him. Earlier they thought it might have been a piece of glass coming off the teleprompter, which was not true. Anyway, by the way, there's no freaking difference. You know, if a bullet goes through things that hit you, you got shot. Anyway, not that it makes any difference. But before I forget, Flounder, 24 hours ago, anything happening?
All is good on this side of the glass.
And there you are. Now, I know Robert today or Lucas?
No, I believe they're on vacation.
I saw a couple of the girl hotties walking by.
Yeah, they're here every day. I don't know about programming. So.
Excellent. Anyway, 306, here's the number, 404-741-1230, 741-1230. Oh, mercy. I mean, honestly, we have tickets to give away, too. We'll do that... anytime we feel like it, we'll get to it. Also, Flounders Funnies and Holy Crap at Sports, and we got a whole bunch of tweets. In fact, just anytime you feel like it, just hit some tweets in there because you know what, they're fun and they're cool. Also coming up, we'll also talk about the Alcatraz escape that Clint Eastwood may actually have gotten away with his buddies. In fact, wasn't Frank Morris from Georgia? The leader of the pack, I think it was from Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, either the brothers or Frank Morris were from Georgia. Also, the planet Mars may have a layer 10 miles deep of diamonds. And I can't wait to talk about the 10-year-old Calhoun boy, a hero, when Gramps was driving a pickup truck towing a boat on a trailer. And the 10-year-old kid saved both their lives. Anyway, coming up, all this stuff. 404-741-1230. Okay, shall we actually dig right in here? I mean, this is really last night on the speech. First thing I wrote down, I keep a notepad of all the stuff, as you know, anybody in the business does that. Anyway, so my first thing on notepad was Orange Man. I mean, holy crap, he had pancake makeup on, so that was not a tan. And it wasn't even a spray tan. I guarantee you that was some kind of special something or other. And that's the first thing I thought. And then the second thing I thought was, what?
This is what he looked like.
Oh, yeah, night. Orange Man. It was unbelievable. He made fun of Trump, of course, which is hysterical. And then, as he was going along, we'll get to whether it was live or not after a little bit. But first of all, I don't even want to play it. I don't even want to play any of his sound bites. I was so offended by it. When he had the balls to actually talk about bringing honesty and decency to this administration and the ending political hate speech. It was nothing but hate speech from the Oval Office. And then when he never answered the question, why did he give up running for re-election? He pretended to answer it. At one point, he actually said, and so I've made this decision to unite my party. Oh, really? I mean, that must... I know they wrote that down for him when he addressed the teleprompter last night. But if that was his decision, was a political decision to unite the Democrat Party from the Oval Office, and it was recorded, he didn't even have the decency to make a live address to the American people.
Is this not election fraud, what they've done with all the voting? It meant nothing. It's election fraud.
Exactly. It's a coup. It's a freaking coup. In fact, the Republicans are now trying to get an investigation. A conservative group is demanding that the House of Representatives and the Speaker today start an investigation on whether they performed a coup. I'll talk more about, I've got that notes on that here coming up in a little bit. First of all, a couple things. He said, he said, we have to unite this country after what happened on 9/11 was the worst attack since a civil war. Here we go again. And he talked about some kind of existential climate threat. And he wanted to change the Supreme Court. This was a political hate speech from the Oval Office. And it was so bad that he couldn't even do it live. And at first I didn't think about it because I was so offended by his freaking words. And by the way, every time he has suddenly now for the last few months, he has ended every speech or comment with, God bless our troops. That is so offensive to me. He didn't give a crap about his troops then or now. I mean, anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, go ahead.
He just said we weren't fighting. He was the only president that could say in this century that we're not fighting anywhere. So why is he having to bless the troops at the moment?
Yeah. Because he got hammered bringing every time Afghanistan comes up on the withdrawal and all the stuff that's happened. And then when he got creamed, he said, no American soldiers died under my watch. Remember how funny that was? So that's why he's saying it now, because he got caught. Yeah, let's count the numbers. God, it was 13 just in Afghanistan at Abbey Gate, for God's sakes.
One day.
Yeah. Okay, a couple things. Social media went nuts. There's some speculation among social media that President Joe Biden's recent speech was pre-recorded. Based on observations during the speech, his watch didn't match the actual time of the broadcast unless he keeps it 2 hours slow. They've expressed skepticism, questioned the authenticity. They're lying to us about the speech being live. The time on his watch clearly does not match the time of the supposed live broadcast. And if they're lying about that, what else are they lying about? This address to the nation by Biden's really an address to the teleprompter. If Joe Biden went live at 8:10 p.m. to address the nation tonight, why does his old Joe's watch show 6:07? Holy blank, that was a different looking Joe Biden last night with a new skin mask. Missed the Biden speech. Was it real, or was it the younger, more agile clone they brought out? Another half of Biden's face is still. Did that guy have a stroke overnight? This is awesome. Biden's speech wasn't actually live. His watch wasn't even on the right time. Once again, the internet is undefeated, which I think is freaking hysterical. And by the way, you're speaking of hysterical, Flounder, let's play. I heard this morning coming in. This is a montage. And you know, when you hear this, you're going to know what the calling card was and the talking points that were sent out among all the liberal media. Somehow they all got it together. Flounder, if you would, sir, the reports and the reactions from liberal media people to the speech last night.
This act puts Joe Biden in league with the history's most selfless leaders, Roman General Cincinnatus, the father of our country, George Washington.
This was selfless. This was selfless on a level, I think, that's important in a way that we talk about George Washington being selfless.
George Washington and Joe Biden shared that same reason.
George Washington also showed this country how to step down and pass the baton.
I'm not saying that Biden is exactly like Washington, but I do think the act of being able to step away from that power.
George Washington in 1796 walked away from a third term saying the essence of democracy is that in a democracy, a leader gives up power even when he does not have to.
Unless it's for health reasons, there's no reason for him to step down.
Or the voice of God.
Zero.
He said God first. He said only God. If I get a message from God or the medical people, tell me. And by the way, last night, all he said was, I'm doing this for the party. I'm doing this to unite the so-and-so. Then why now did you do, what caused you? Why did you make the decision now? Why not a year ago, 2 months ago, or never? Or I mean, others. He still didn't answer the question. Why did he make the decision? He said to make it, it's time for a change. Why is it time for a change? In other words, he never got to the bottom of the question, why? If it was time for a change, why was it time for a change? Why now? I mean, he didn't answer the question. It was all crap. It was a political hate speech against Donald Trump. God, I hate these people. I swear to you, I freaking hate these people. From the Oval Office, and he was so incompetent, they had to freaking tape it because they knew he could not pull it off live. That's our president. I'm sorry. That's George Washington. Oh, my God.
Cincinnatus.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Oh. All right, 314, 35. We're fine. Everything's fine. Kim, Pete, and Flounder. We'll be good. Your calls, hopefully.
The Morning Extra is live weekday mornings from 6 to 10, and here's what you missed.
Where were the president and vice president saying this is the kind of political violence that we've talked about that must stop? This and everything that you see on that TV screen today should be in an ad from the Trump campaign saying this is Kamala Harris's vision for America.
The Morning Extra, 6 to 10 a.m. every weekday morning on XTRA 106.3 FM and the XTRA app.
As an official community partner of the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Braves Foundation, the Warrior Alliance connects warriors and their families to free services such as health and wellness, housing, employment, education, legal services, and so much more. We need your financial support to increase our impact and change thousands of lives for those who served in the U.S. Armed Forces. It takes more than just thank you for your service. Make a donation to help warriors navigate to success after service. Go to thewarrioralliance.org/donate and make a difference today.
When your equipment breaks down, stop by Howard Brothers for all of your parts needs. They've got your supply of Kawasaki filters, belts, blades, and everything else you need to keep your equipment in top shape. At Howard Brothers, they will ensure you get exactly what you need. Whether you're powering up a lawnmower, string trimmer, or a tiller, you can trust they have the right parts and the best service around. And Kawasaki engines deliver the power and performance that Howard Brothers customers demand. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Kawasaki and Howard Brothers.
Self-employed in 2021, you may be entitled to up to $32,220 in COVID tax relief. At smartsetc.com, our ex-IRS auditors leverage credentialed knowledge to help you understand your claim with no upfront costs. Don't miss out on this opportunity to maximize the claim you're entitled to. Take our short eligibility quiz at smartsetc.com now. That's smartsetc.com.
If you notice any cracks in your foundation, they are not going to go away. They need to be addressed as soon as possible to reduce additional costs that come with repair. Ramjack is the best company in the industry for repairing your foundation. We have the highest quality products in the nation. So, if you are experiencing foundation problems, please contact us at ramjack.com/Atlanta or call us at 770-502-8881. That's 770-502-8881.
Hi, it's Glenn Beck, and I saw a statistic recently that jumped out at me. In 2017, home equity grew by a staggering $908 billion in America. That represents a 12% increase year over year. For most Americans, home equity is the biggest chunk of their personal wealth. At realestateagentsitrust.com, we see adult children who seek our help and sell their parents' homes. Often, the home is in a distant city and the condition of the home can be poor. And of course, our agents at realestateagentsitrust.com go above and beyond to help those families sell these homes. And that's a great feeling for everybody involved, including us. But it makes me wonder if there might be a better way. Have you considered looking at the equity you have in your home? It might be smart to sell now and downsize and have that equity to enjoy your golden years. If so, I urge you to go to realestateagentsitrust.com and let one of our agents see what might be possible by leveraging the equity in your home. realestateagentsitrust.com. That's realestateagentsitrust.com.
There we go. Stand by. Hold on now. He will actually, will he be talking in this one?
He does.
Okay, I'll wait first. We're now coming up here. Here we go. Stand by. There we go. She's got the what? My hearing is so bad I can't understand what he's saying. Weird Al, 2014, the pop star.
He's doing a parody of a Lady Gaga song. That's what Weird Al's known for. Is doing
I know all the parody. I know 10 of his parodies probably I've heard before, but this one I've never heard, and I can't understand the words.
So Lady Gaga has a song called Poker Face, and this is Polka Face.
Polka Face, that's what I thought he said. Anyway, Weird Al became the first comedy act in 50 years to grab the top spot. Mandatory Fun, his 14th album, best-selling since Straight Outta Linwood, released in 1991, went to number 1 in the album chart. The last comedy album reached number 1 in the chart was Alan Sherman's My Son the Nut in 1963. Was that Camp Granada? That was a very clever tune that Alan Sherman did. And Bob Newhart, The Button Down Vine, was a huge hit. And there were some comedy albums back in the 50s and 60s. There were actually quite a few. There was one, the guy who did a parody of the Kennedy family. Robert Lehrer or something like that was a Harvard professor and a piano player, and he did comedy stuff like that too. Anyway, hold everything up. Phone calls take priority. 404-741-1230. Scotty the window guy, you're on the radio, man. What's up?
Hey, welcome home, brother.
Yes, sir.
Hey, did you see the video of the person that went to grab the burning flag and ran away with it, and he was attacked?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why didn't the fucking police?
Whoa, ho, hey, hi-yo, whoa, ha. No, we can't be saying those kinds of things there. Well, in fact, that's about 2 stories down on my story, but let's do it right now. Last night, in fact, there's more talk about it because there may be some investigations about this, but here's a couple of questions. Today, by the way, when Bibi Netanyahu met with President Baby Killer, there were dozens of protesters, nothing really particularly serious. But yesterday and last night, there were thousands. And if you saw the video, not only were they, stupid and idiotic, painting over once again, destroying federal property on federal property and taking down the American flags, burning the American flags, setting it on fire. One guy did grab part of it. They attacked him, and apparently someone else also did actually get some to take away. But there's a whole bunch of questions about this they arrested about 24 people, last I understand. And yes, we all know that the Supreme Court has ruled that it's free if it's a part of a protest. Burning the American flag as part of a protest is considered free speech, free protest reaction speech. However, that doesn't mean you can just take somebody's flag and put it on their front lawn and set it on fire. Or you can take down someone else's property and destroy the federal property on federal property and get away with it. So how come the U.S. attorney has not already announced federal charges for insurrection? I mean, they were trespassing. They were using federal property. They were destroying it. They were
brutalizing police officers.
Absolutely, they were hitting police officers. They were fighting cops. How come they're not in solitary freaking confinement like they were for the mostly peaceful Ashley Babbitt day? How come they're not facing years of problems and losing every freaking nickel they have?
We'll see if the
fight these charges.
We'll see if the FBI does billboards where they put their information on the billboards for them to see.
Yeah, how about this? How about the FBI? Oh my God, how you dirty rotten snakes at the FBI. How about the FBI tracking their cell phones? Remember, the FBI actually tracked the cell phones and went to the credit card companies to find out how many of the so-called insurrectionists on January 6th made their plans on their credit cards with the airlines to fly to Washington to be part of the protest, which would be a conspiracy. And they got the credit card companies to give them the information. Remember all that? I had forgotten until just this second. Where's the FBI now? Hey, FBI, what are you doing about it? And by the way, another couple of things while I'm thinking about it. Unlike protests in the 60s, and because of Carmela's side and because of Biden stepping down, they're going to compare it to LBJ in 1968 when I was in Vietnam watching it on TV and everything. Okay, here's the difference. In the 60s, all those Vietnam protests were by people who didn't want to go to Vietnam, so they had a stake in the game. They had a dog in that fight. They didn't want to go to Vietnam. They also thought the war was wrong, and they also didn't want their friends to go to Vietnam. It was a time when, going to war or not was a huge... we just lost Pete. It was a huge political issue. This stuff where these Democrat Jew haters have no stake. There's no stake in the game for them. There's no skin in the game. They're not in danger of anything. No one's drafting them to go fight in Israel. This is not an American war. This is not an American political policy. This is Israel and Hamas. And I mean, give me a break. These people are just Jew haters. These Democrats, and they're all Democrats. All these Democrats are just Jew haters. And by the way, a lot of them were yelling Allahu Akbar when they were destroying federal property and getting away with it. This is unfreaking believable. They're just Jew haters. They're Democrats who hate Jews. They showed up to hate Jews. There's nothing going to happen to them in America. They're not going to be sent to war. What a bunch of crap. God, seriously. 324, sorry. Anyway, here's the number. 404-741-1230. While I take a hold of it, we're going to get Pete back on the line here. We got storms coming in or something. Anyway, I didn't do our birthday list, and I hate depriving you of all the work that we put into this kind of stuff here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was wondering when you're going to get back to
that. Look at them. I just do this at 5:30 in the morning. I'm typing with my IBM Selectric Wheelwriter 3 people. I got to get up to date here. A birthday for First of all, Iman is 69 years old today. Iman is David Bowie's widow. Sci-fi fans would remember her as the shapeshifter Marcia, or Marty, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, in Star Trek VI. The undiscovered... There's Star Trek VIs? They had 6 of those. Oh, my God. Anyway, your mom is 69, David Bowie's widow. There you go. And on this day in history, 1978, welcome Louise Joy Brown, born this day into the loving arms of her test tube. Excuse me? Yes, it was true. Leslie Brown gave birth on this day in 1978 to the world's first test tube baby. Doctors Patrick Steptoe and Robert Edwards developed a system where they would combine the baby batter mixing stuff in a test tube in a laboratory, mix it together, and then implant it in a woman's body. And Louise Joy Brown was the first baby born this way to her mom, Leslie. Louise Brown, the first test tube baby, is alive and well. She's the mother she's had 2 of her own babies, and she and her husband live in happiness and peace in Bristol, England. And the last I knew, she was working in a box company or something or other, and they're doing just fine. Have 2 kids of their own, born the natural way. First test tube baby is 46 years old today. 326, Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. Well, Kimmer and Flounder. No, we lost it. We have a line thing going on here.
I'm trying to communicate with him to get him back, so I'm assuming he's got bad weather there.
Well, it's just, luckily we have this modern technology, we're going to get out. Almost every day, I'm watching TV and it says, you've lost internet. No, I haven't lost internet. I have to go upstairs and unplug anyway, whatever. No, it's all fine. I'm not complaining. Everything's just happy and good. Boom. Donald Trump last night, of course he had a rally, but Donald Trump last night was on his plane. I think he'd wrapped up his rally in North Carolina minutes before President Stupid Face addressed the nation. I listened to Biden's remarks on the plane. He said, hey, on Air Force One, hey, Joe, you're fired. He said, all politics aside, he said, crooked Joe Biden's Oval Office speech was barely understandable and so bad. Crooked Joe and lying Kamala Harris are a great embarrassment to America. There's never been a time like this. Boy, no kidding. Some of the reactions, all politics aside, it's sad to watch him slur through a farewell speech with glassy eyes and a weak voice, said Mike Huckabee. Let's see. Scott Jennings, Republican political operative, said he's running on fumes. Seems like this was a stump speech to me. Again, it was offensive to me. It was giving a political hate speech from the Oval Office. And he never answered the question, why did he do this? He said because to help the party and because it's time for a younger person. Well, why is it time for a younger person? What made it? In other words, and by the way, where the hell are my notes here? God darn. Well, somewhere in here, I'm going to get to it eventually. Oh, here we go. No, that's not it. There's a conservative group. I can't find my notes. I'll do this on my head. There's a conservative group which is now asking the Speaker of the House to formally investigate whether the Democrat Party pressured Joe crime family into giving up his position as running for president based on the threat that they were going to 25th Amendment the guy. 25th Amendment, getting the cabinet to say you're not fit and kicking him out of office. And the word is that's exactly what happened. They threatened him. The only reason he didn't tell the truth last night was because they threatened him. He would have had to say, well, they told me they were going to get me out of office. They were going to release the Ben Hur audio tapes. They were going to release some of the banking transactions, show I'm a freaking crook. They're also going to release some of the information about they're going to 25th Amendment me, so that's why I had to give up running for office. That's the truth. You know that's the truth because you already said there's only 2 things that would get him out of office. The voice of God himself or herself and a medical doctor saying you're not fit to run. And very clearly, the podium princess, Shirley Temple, said, no, he's fine. He's not going to say he's not fit to run. And he never said anything about not being fit to run. He said, well, it's time for a younger person. But he never said because I can't do it. I mean, it's a crock. That's why they had to tape record the damn thing. Because they knew he couldn't pull it off live. What a bunch of scumbags. Even the doctors watching. There are a couple of Dr. Mark Siegel, you've seen and talked to him before. And this is a very emotional time for him, but he isn't showing it. He seems to completely lack emotion and lack conviction. How could he be quoting from the Declaration of Independence without any conviction? And by the way, he did it again. All men are created equal. He couldn't say it. He couldn't spit it out of his mouth. Remember, he said, well, all men are, well,
you know the thing.
Yeah, I mean, my guy was almost as bad as you know the thing. He just added some extra word. He didn't say men. He said all the people are created the same way we ought to be or something. I mean, my God.
So should Donald Trump get national time for what Biden did last night, considering it was somewhat of a campaign?
Well, that's the problem. It was a campaign speech, but he did it from the Oval Office so he can say it was an address to the nation. But theoretically, morally and ethically, the network should give Donald Trump 11 minutes.
They would never do that.
Absolutely, they'll never do it. But they should. I mean, you're right. Again, everything's changed. It used to be the Federal Communications Commission, for one thing, does not control networks. It controls broadcast stations, so they can get to the networks through the broadcast stations. But theoretically, the FCC also is telling TV stations that if they have run a commercial, they can't change it. TV stations are not allowed to change. If they run a commercial for a candidate, they're not allowed to edit it because they think it might be in bad taste. Either don't play it or play it, but they can't change it if they do. And the FCC is in control of local stations, but they can't do squat about cable, Fox News, stuff like that. And it used to be very, very clear. They used to have a fairness doctrine, which was, if I'm not mistaken, was the equal time provision was passed by Congress. And that means in a political campaign, if a TV or radio station plays 10 minutes of a Republican guy, they've got to play 10 minutes of a Democrat guy. The fairness doctrine, I think, has been now eliminated. And that was FCC rules saying if you're talking a lot about how taxes suck, then you need to talk also the same amount, a kind of a similar sort of amount of time on people who are saying that they don't suck. But I think that's gone by the wayside. That was like 50 years ago. That's back when I had to get a license to broadcast on the radio. I had to get to the FCC third-class radio telephone operator's license, and the test was a bitch to be able to take readings on the radio station in 1965. All right, 3:31. Kimmer, Pete, and maybe Pete at Flounder, and it's Thursday, and here we go. Stand by.
Left-wing media is pushing counterfeit polls and bogus headlines, all while ignoring the stories that matter most. Trust the conservative voice of Atlanta for the real truth without the media spin. The Morning Extra, Glenn Beck, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton, The Kimmer Show, Jesse Kelly, and the voices you need most are all on XTRA 106.3 and the XTRA app.
It's going to be an interesting couple of months right here on XTRA 106.3.
All right, I think we need to get Jeff and Mark and the gang at Atlanta Safe House up to Pete's Mountains of Macon's location to see if they can't get some kind of a broadcasting safe to keep his signals safe from the elements of the weather out there. I'll bet they could do it. Atlanta Safe House, home of the Kimmer safes. It's true. Yes, it's true. You may not think you need a safe, but take it from me. I proved it to myself when I couldn't find my medical records when I went to Florida. I didn't have my safes down there, and bing, bang, boom. So, medical records, my living will now. Kids know where to look for my banking records, whatever might be left in there. The stuff they need to know, real estate transactions and stuff you want to save. Maybe that first corsage from your first prom or whatever. Marriage and divorce papers, living will, all that kind of stuff. So they know where it is and it is protected. Gun safes, man, these things are beautiful. Now, I've had a couple of them, as you know, and again, they're not just great big empty safes. They have nooks and crannies and storage units and shelving, anything you want. They can design it any way you want it. And check out the pistol safes, too. Go to atlantasafehouse.com. You'll see what I mean. By the way, they love company up there. They have a showroom in Ackworth. atlantasafehouse.com has a showroom in Ackworth, and they love it when you stop in, kind of shop around. They can show you what they can do for you, and I'm telling you, these things pretty much always on sale. The best brands, and they have the best delivery service, bolting it inside to your concrete floor if you want it. They'll take care of business. Jeff and Mark, tell them the Kimmer sent you. atlantasafehouse.com.
Who says you have to wait until December to celebrate Christmas? Hi, I'm Jaron Solomon. Right now at Solomon Brothers Jewelers, we're celebrating Christmas in July in all of our locations in Buckhead, Alpharetta, and Sharpsburg. Stop in today and enjoy our 12 days of deals on everything in our stores. Surprise your special someone with a beautiful diamond tennis bracelet, earrings, ring, or necklace. And to make your purchase even easier, Solomon Brothers Jewelers is offering up to 60 months interest-free financing. That's 5 years to pay for that special gift, interest-free. And while you're at it, why not break out the tree, string up the lights, and pour yourself some eggnog? Make this a Christmas to remember with our 12 days of deals. Don't wait until December. Find some of the biggest savings of the year at Solomon Brothers Jewelers during our Christmas in July event. Visit us on Peachtree Road in Buckhead, Old Milton Parkway in Alpharetta, and Fisher Road in Sharpsburg, and online at SolomonBrothers.com. Solomon Brothers Jewelers, now the preferred jeweler of the Atlanta Braves.
Well, Sally, thank you for your time. But unfortunately, we can't offer you the position.
But why?
Well, we got the results of your background check, and we saw some red flags.
Like what?
Apparently, you were accused of dog-napping a Chihuahua named Mr. Cha-Cha.
Mr. Cha-Cha was my soulmate.
At Horizon Background Screening, we find things that other companies don't. That's why companies that use us make smarter hiring decisions. Don't let the wrong hire put your company at risk. Get the real story on your candidates at horizonscreening.com.
When it comes to protecting your assets and ensuring peace of mind, trust the expertise of Nelson Eldercare Law. Our Absolute Protection Trust is designed to provide unparalleled asset protection. Visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com to discover how our specialized services can safeguard your family's future and assets, offering you the assurance you deserve. NelsonElderCareLaw.com.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 4 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffer from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. There are lots of competitors that don't have the credentials that I have. When you go to other clinics, you're not going to see a board-certified physician with the experience that I have. When you come to our clinic, you're going to see me. There's just not one therapy that can solve these complex issues. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, 404-777-1911, 404-777-1911, online at stopmyed.com.
Okie dokie. This is Eric Braum, is that correct? Iron Butterfly. Eric Braum, I guess it's pronounced Brown, B-R-A-U-N-N. In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, baby. Eric Braum from the American psychedelic rock band Iron Butterfly died of cardiac failure. He was 52 on this day in 2003. Brown was only 16 when he joined Iron Butterfly, had the 1968 U.S. single hit In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. That's in the Garden of Eden, I think is what that meant, didn't it?
I believe so.
Yes. Anyway, cover Pete and Flounder. Pete's got a little transmission problem up there in the mountains of Macon, so we'll hopefully get him hooked up here at some point. Our birthday list includes Roger Clinton, 68, brother of Bill. And it says here, the star of Biodome, Spy Hard, and Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Wings. I don't know any of what those things are. He's okay. And that's really Bill Clinton's brother I thought it was Roger. That's Roger Clinton. He has 68. Oh, well, okay. And on our...
Was he in politics too?
I didn't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. I never heard that.
Maybe just a ladies' man like Bill?
I don't think anybody could be like Bill. God. If they loved him, though, they said, he'd walk into a room and they all start, swooning and, getting all goofy and stuff. I'm getting all tingly. Oh, God. 1946. The U.S. detonated an atomic bomb at the Bikini Atoll in the Pacific. It was the first underwater test of the bomb. They sank a couple of ships, loaded it with an atomic bomb, and kaboom. By the way, this was in 1946 as they were testing atomic bombs. Today, in that atoll in the Pacific, the Bikini Atoll, today the radioactive fallout still registers higher than Chernobyl. That's pretty serious. Anyway, 404-741-1230. 404-741-1230. 338. Cover Pete and Flounder. Shannon Burke joins us around 5:30 this afternoon. Holy Crap at Sports coming up. Pete's tweets coming. Oh, he's back. Hey, hi-oh. I think he's back. Are we all cowabunga here?
Yeah, let's start over again. I saw a one-armed man.
No, hey, whoa. Sorry, we're all out of time. Golly, oh, hey. I'll tell you what, let's do. I'm very excited. Now, for some reason, I don't know what it is, Flounder. All of a sudden in my headphones, it's getting like real. I don't know. I don't know. It must be me. I'm sure it's me. Actually, that sounded better. Did you do something?
I have not touched a thing.
I'll be damned. Well, that's all right. I'm sorry. I'm
electronics.
Stupid. Luckily, I have the modern technology. Let's play Ace Frehley. You want to do that? Pete found this somewhere. I don't know where the concert was. Pete, maybe you'll know. Ace Frehley is with Kiss. He's a trumpeter, whatever he does, and apparently he's a big Donald Trump fan. And this had to be edited, but this is from a concert appearance where Ace Frehley from Kiss on Donald Trump.
Country is in trouble. And there's only one person that's going to fix it. And I'm not even going to say his name, but you know who the I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. Say it. Say it.
Trump. Yelling Trump, right? I'm sure he studied all the issues and has come to a conclusion about what's best for America.
It's on top of everything.
340. We got a lot to talk about Vice President. By the way, every time we mention Vice President side piece, the borders are. Every time in fact, anytime anybody in public, if you're out and somebody says, oh, what do you think about Vice President? Oh, the borders are. And anytime you mention her name, you have to say the words borders are, so they never get rid of it. The liberal media are still going nuts. I mean, it's been 2 days, and they're still going crazy. Anyway, we'll more about that. First of all, more on the FBI director, the disgrace of Atlanta, Christopher the Cossack Ray, suspected Russian double agent, who's been lying to Congress for a couple of years now, especially over the Hunter laptop and everything else on January 6th, and don't even get me started. Anyway, now... The Republican nominee for president, Donald Trump, has said he's a liar. After the meeting, let's see, Christopher Wray was asked about President Stupid Face the Pervert's noticeable decline in his mental and physical illness situation. Quote, I don't meet with him very often, but what you're describing is not something I've observed during my interactions with him. He said meeting with Biden has been uneventful, unremarkable, just a regular guy, So Donald Trump says, bull crap, you're sweet talking the whole freaking committee. He said, despite the fact that Robert Hur said effectively Joe Biden's incompetent with no memory, Ray says it's not something I've observed during my interactions with him. If that's the case, Donald Trump says Director Ray should resign immediately from the FBI. Anybody can see Joe Biden's cognitively and physically challenged. If you can't see that, you're sure as hell shouldn't be running the FBI. He has to resign, and now for lying to Congress. And now, this little nugget of joy. I missed this. We were working, so I didn't hear all the testimony of the FBI, the Federal Gestapo Investigation Director, at his testimony in Congress. But there was actually a point, Flounder, we have a little sound here, of the FBI Director trying to indicate that maybe Trump wasn't shot after all. We got it right here. Oh, hey, he's in the back there doing stuff. Sorry, FBI Director.
Christopher Wray.
That he may not have been shot.
I think with respect to former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that hit his ear. So it's conceivable. Although, as I sit here right now, I don't know whether that bullet, in addition to causing the grazing, could have also landed somewhere else. But I believe we've accounted for all of the shots in the cartridges. So let us.
Yeah, he has no clue what he's talking about, but he throws it out there anyway.
Well, here's the problem. The question was, how many shots did he fire? And if he fired 8 shots, where are the bullets? and they were trying to find out, I guess specifically whatever they wanted to find out. And so Ray said, well, he really didn't know whether one of the bullets actually was counted for, or whether that was the one that actually hit Trump's ear, or whether it was a piece of metal from being. I mean, it's just unfreaking believable. By the way, it doesn't make any damn difference. They both sting. And I'm telling you, he got shot in the face with a piece of metal, whether it was coming from a bullet or something the bullet hit. Dear God. And so the Trump staff says, quote, anybody who believes this conspiracy bourgeois is mentally deficient. There are no depths to how low the Biden-Harris administration will go. Again, I mean, this is just everything they do.
He used the word grazed.
Yeah,
grazed. It's kind of like he claimed.
Jeez, yeah, just a little nick, just not a big deal.
Swatoon's on the horn. He wants to chime in.
Swatoon, haven't talked in a while. Welcome, my friend. What can you believe all this? What do you think, sir?
No, man, this shrapnel BS.
Yeah.
I mean, I seen what shrapnel did to my cousin. He pretty much cut his head off. But the politicians came in, and the general came in and said, like, "Oh, this is the Croatians who did this," but actually it was the friendly fire, what they call it.
Oh,
but anyway, about this burning flag part.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like a rubbing in my face of telling me that all my freedom that I got here, it's worth for nothing. I mean, if I see something like that, I would just grab that flag, and of course, with so many people around there, I would run away. But other than that, I would beat the crap out of them. Everybody just burn the flag in front of my face.
Again, it's not as though they're afraid. They're protesting because they're afraid they're going to have to go to war to fight for a cause they don't believe. They're not. They're just protesting because they hate Jews, and they're insulting anybody who's come to this country for the freedom and liberty that it offers, and they're doing it the right way. Guys like you who fought for your country when you were teenagers, I was like 15 years old, shooting and killing people as part of the underground to get rid of the bad guys in Bosnia-Herzegovina with a whole freaking section over there. I mean, it's got to be insulting to you. I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you at all.
Well, in America right now, we are so privileged. I'm privileged too. When I came to America, I used to walk 1 mile to 2 miles to go to work, and today I hate to go to my mailbox from my front door. That's how spoiled I got.
What a country!
Yeah, exactly. That's a good thing to have. The problem over here in America, it's if you won't get like people rioting, just turn off the internet, and they're gonna be crazy rioting. That's how privileged Americans are.
Yeah.
And they really need to bring the constitutional knowledge kind of to the high schools, middle schools.
I know they're not teaching. They're not teaching the Constitution. They're not teaching civics. They're not teaching love of country. They're not teaching patriotism. They're not teaching why we're different. They're not teaching why we're special. They're not even teaching why everybody wants to come here. Name another country in the history of the world where everybody wants to come. If they had the chance, they would all come here. Anywhere ever, America. Period. Unbelievable.
Yeah, like I said, I become like we call it Americanized.
Yeah.
We all get spoiled.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with America. I mean, the people that are not really seeing how bad it's out there. They've been always told, "Oh, I was on vacation in China or Russia, and everything was great." Yeah, you were on vacation. That's like me going to Miami and saying, like, "I didn't see no crime in Miami or Chicago." I was on vacation.
Yeah, unbelievable. I know. Listen, it's always good to have you keeping the faith, Swatoon. Hi to the family, and thanks as always, my friend. 346, Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. A lot on the vice president coming up here, including a call that was answered by Democrats in Congress to complain about her. Coming up next, Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder, 106.3.
Stream Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Glenn Beck, Fox News, and even NASCAR on Sundays, anywhere on the Extra 106.3 app. Download the app now and get 24/7 access to the live stream, the latest news, and everything you need to know about Atlanta's only conservative talk station. Download the Extra 106.3 app for Apple or Android and check out even more great original content at thepodcastpark.com.
The summer's got you thinking about hitting the road, and with back to school right around the corner, you need a vehicle built for the road and safe enough for the family. And Subaru of Gwinnett on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth has it for you. Like the 2024 Subaru Outback, which will take you as far as you want to explore with symmetrical all-wheel drive, plus up to 32 miles per gallon. And if you're up for adventure, it'll get you off the beaten path with up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance, more than Honda CR-V or Toyota RAV4, or the Subaru Forester, the SUV for all the adventures ahead, with a spacious and comfortable interior for everyone you want to bring along. And no matter where the adventure takes you, it starts on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth with the amazing staff at Subaru of Gwinnett. They'll help you find the Subaru that you love and be there every step of the way for everything you need. Start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com or come visit us today on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth. We're Subaru of Gwinnett.
When you're leaving the house, do you plead with your garage door? Please open, please open. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. Let us take that anxiety away with one quick call. Our highly trained technicians will get to the bottom of your garage door issues. It could be a simple repair, a malfunctioning opener, or maybe just needs a tune-up. But if it's time for your garage door to be replaced, we'll make that easy too with upfront pricing and free estimates. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.
There are crazies on the road. Who knows where they're all going, but if one of them hits you, don't take care of it on your own. Call my friend David Van Sant. He is the lawyer that used to work for the insurance company. The team at Van Sant Law knows who to call, what to say, and will make sure you get what you deserve and what the insurance company doesn't want to pay for. They have your best interest at heart and will take care of everything. If you don't get paid, they don't get paid. My advice, save Van Sant Law in your phone. Today, 855-GA-INJURY, vansantlaw.com.
Diamonds Direct Atlanta is now open. The nation's fastest growing jewelry store now is a location right here in Buckhead. Shopping for the perfect ring to pop the question? Or maybe an everyday diamond tennis bracelet? The experts at Diamonds Direct are sure to have exactly what you're looking for, no matter the occasion. With the lowest direct importer pricing, you can expect the best selection of certified diamonds at unmatched prices, all within a luxury showroom atmosphere that makes you feel right at home. Come see what other jewelers are trying to replicate. Diamonds Direct's unbeatable after-the-sale guarantees and warranties are the best you can find. Free cleanings, sizing, polishing, accent diamond replacement for the lifetime of your purchase. If that's not enough, they also offer a 110% upgrade policy for you to use as often as you'd like on your diamond engagement ring, pendant, or studs. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, come see how Diamonds Direct is reinvigorating the jewelry industry at their brand new Buckhead showroom. When you want to have complete confidence in your jewelry buying experience, shop with the experts at Diamonds Direct. Now open on the corner of Maple Drive Northeast and Peachtree.
Stop what you're doing and listen to this. Your God-given freedoms are up for the taking, and those doing the taking are the same people who've sworn to defend your freedom. They think they can control the media, hide the truth, and force their delusions onto your family. You know what they can't take away? Self-reliance, peace of mind. Got water filtration? You should. A charged solar generator? You better. Emergency food on your shelf? Get it now from My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is the most trusted name in survival, and for damn good reason, too. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now and save $200 on their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit. It delivers over 2,000 calories per day, plus sealed inside practically unpierceable packaging. It lasts up to 25 years. Oh, and did I mention it's delicious? Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and save $200 per kit. Includes fast and free shipping. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
The world's biggest banks, especially those of China and Russia, have declared a full-scale attack on the U.S. dollar. They are now dumping dollars and buying record amounts of gold. So what do they know that we don't? Well, they know that our dollar is at a tipping point as the world's reserve currency. Call 800-475-2280 right now. Get 2 free reports from Kevin DeMeritt and his team at Lear Capital. De-dollarization and $3,200 gold. They are both essential reads to understand how gold can help you keep more of your hard-earned money. Since 2020, the dollar has lost 24% of its purchasing power. It's simple for the banks. Get rid of something that's losing value and replace it with something rising in value. Please do the same with Lear Capital. If you want to protect your wealth like the big banks, call the people I trust at Lear Capital. They'll send you a free report and an IRA guide and answer any question. Call them now, 800-475-2280. 800-475-2280.
All right, here we go. 352 Metallica. 1983, released their debut album, Kill 'Em All. Yeah, it's the groundbreaking album for thrash metal because of its precise musicianship, fusing new wave of British heavy metal riffs with hardcore punk tempos. Okay? Ah, yes, you take your loving girl in your arms and that dancing around to this wonderful loving beat, that sort of thing. Our birthday list includes Matt LeBlanc. Matt LeBlanc's 57, Joey Tribbiani on Friends, and he played his own show self on Episodes, a Showtime show. I enjoyed that. It kind of jumped the shark for me. I didn't like the part where I forgot somebody thought they were cheating on the wife, so he started screwing the guy's wife, and it wasn't true or something. I didn't like that part. I mean, it just got kind of ugly. Anyway, Joey Tribbiani, Matt LeBlanc, 57 years old today. I'm going to go with the thing there. And on this day in history, 1980, Caddyshack was released with the incredible Bill Murray and the infamously unwrapped Baby Ruth. But I remember, of course, Rodney Dangerfield doesn't say, and this part of the thing doesn't mention him. In fact, I have a poster in my possession of the Caddyshack movie poster, like 4-foot big movie poster thing, signed by Rodney Dangerfield. Oh, and Pete Davis has the Caddyshack gopher. I have one of those, too. You remember the Caddyshack gopher?
It's a gopher, not a golfer.
Not you Greek. Don't believe you can't speak English. Mrs. Crane, I'm looking at you. You're a tramp. Anyway, and by the way, when I retired and my parents left me a little money, and I decided I'm going to buy one last car for the rest of my life, and so I bought a 1955 Ford Sunliner convertible and turned it into a hot rod. I had two car builder guys locally who both of them screwed me, and it cost me almost $200,000, and I sold the car for $70,000. But the 55 Ford Sunliner convertible, and I had installed in it, I paid a guy to install the Caddyshack horn noise when Rodney drives up to the clubhouse. Like that. And so anytime I would drive by a golf course and guys on the tee, I'd hit the horn as I'm driving by. I got more laughs and more anger things when they're trying to hit the ball. But anyway, so that's a story, man. I got screwed on that deal, too. So that's the ball game. Story of my freaking life. 3:55. Holy cow. God, we're almost out of time. We got a Flounders Funny. Want to do some tweets here? What do you want to do? We got some leftover tweets?
Tweets.
There we go. It's the modern day phone calls. Our modern technology of tweets and memes. And so here we are with Pete Davis and our Pete's Tweets.
Just in case you forgot how screwed up the Georgia Republican Party can get, former GOP Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan has tweeted this nugget of joy. I'm committed to beating Donald Trump.
Oh, God.
The only vehicle left for me to do that is with the Democratic Party. If that requires me to vote for, speak for, or endorse Kamala Harris, then count me in.
What happened to him? I mean,
he's
seriously.
insane.
He's
not a Republican. He's not a Republican. He's a little wussy wanker who just loves
fraud.
Democrats. Just go ahead and become a Democrat.
Fraud, yeah.
You ballless bastard.
God.
Jeff must be who Newsweek is talking about. They've run a headline that says Donald Trump supporters are flipping to Kamala.
Yeah. I can feel it in the air.
Ron DeSantis says, I got some oceanfront property in Nebraska I want to sell you, too, if you believe that.
Good Lord.
Uncensored USA tweets about Kamala Harris. First time her career has been advanced by a man pulling out.
I saw of the race.
Chad tweets, 3 days ago, Democrats are 100% behind a white guy who praised segregationists and had been in power for 40 years. Today, they're all chanting, it's finally time for a black woman president. The same woman they would not support in 2020. They believe in absolutely nothing. And Omri tweets about the Hamas supporters rioting and burning our flag yesterday in the nation's capital. The normalization of left-wing political violence happened pretty fast. Now it's just part of nature, like snow in winter. Election night means you board up downtown D.C. Weekends are for violent anti-Semitic riots. Republican presidential nominees should not hold outdoor rallies anymore, says the FBI.
This is unbelievable. And again, it started because of the Democrats and their love for George Floyd, the career criminal who fought with the cops until he died of a drug overdose.
He got what he deserved.
And now he's got statues in his honor at Democrat cities in America. Almost hard to believe. 3:57. Do we have time for Founders Funny?
Sure do.
Hey, something here. What do you got there, sir?
I don't know whether I'm a good driver or a bad driver, but I do know that one steering wheel means one driver, okay? Shush, shush. Not to hear my wife tell it. You know, Phil, even a fighter pilot has a wingman. Well, yeah, but I don't think he warns the pilot by screaming out. Well, I get nervous. I don't know what to say. Well, how about car? I don't even understand why she gets so nervous. This is a woman that has jumped from a perfectly good airplane strapped to a little backpack full of nylon. She didn't think a thing of that. But a car in a parking lot backs up slowly towards our car. We had an argument one time, half an hour, whether or not a dolphin is a fish. 30 minutes whether or not a dolphin. I mean, I know that a dolphin's not a fish. Now. Would you at least admit that it lives a fish lifestyle? Got in an argument in the car. Oh, man, that is the worst place to have an argument. You're stuck. Big argument about my driving, you know, and she's got a little room to gripe. I'll give her that, because I'm a boob in the car. I don't know, you ever been driving around and can't see an address or something that you're looking for? So you turn the radio down, like, that'll help? I can't see anything with this music. And this clear piece of glass has got to go.
I do it going into the bank to put my number in. I turn down the radio. Who's that, Flounder?
That is Phil Palisole.
There you go. All right, coming up on 4 o'clock, and also coming up, yeah, Vice President Border Czar actually got creamed by some Democrats in Congress today, condemning her worthless attitude and her worthless accomplishments and lack thereof since she's been in public office. And the golf story, how you behave in front of others makes a difference. Coming up, Kimmer, Pete, and Flounders, 4 o'clock. Look out.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Atlanta Safe House.
President Biden meeting at the White House this afternoon with Israel's Prime Minister. I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News, talking about what Benjamin Netanyahu called the great issues before us, including the war in Gaza. National Security Council Communications Advisor John Kirby says he believes a ceasefire and hostage release deal is getting closer.
We want to get all the hostages home, clearly the Americans in particular. And that's why this deal is so important.
Israeli troops have raided a tunnel in Gaza on a recovery mission.
5 Israeli hostages who were killed on October 7th and held captive in Gaza ever since were rescued and returned home to Israel for burial.
Israeli military spokesman Admiral Daniel Hagari, Vice President Harris will meet separately with Prime Minister Netanyahu after returning from a speech to the Teachers Union Convention in Houston. The House of Representatives today passing a resolution condemning President Biden's immigration policies and Vice President Harris for failing to control the U.S. southern border.
The yeas are 220, the nays are 196. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
6 Democrats joined 214 Republicans in voting for the resolution. The Secret Service polishing security plans for next month's Democratic National Convention in Chicago.
When the Democratic National Convention gets underway on August 19th, the U.S. Secret Service says it will be a very secure area. Derek Meyer with the U.S. Secret Service in Chicago.
Our plan allows us to adjust for any possible scenario. Earlier this month,
The Secret Service coordinated security for the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee and the NATO Summit in Washington, D.C. These events were conducted in a secure environment.
The event comes with concerns for the Secret Service's abilities following the attack on former President Trump, a matter still under investigation.
Fox's Gernal Scott. America is listening to Fox News.
Jerry Padgett, the second enlisted in the U.S. Navy and deployed multiple times to Iraq and Afghanistan until Jerry was catastrophically injured in an improvised explosive device blast. Now, Jerry received a new smart home thanks to our friends at the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Now, the home is in the foundation's Let Us Do Good Village. It's in Florida, and Jerry now lives more independently thanks to the specially adaptive technologies. Commit to $11 a month, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
Hear that? It's the gentle sound of a waterfall on your hike. And if you were here, you'd take a deep breath of fresh air if you weren't so winded. But you're not here, because your self-care happens out on the road, riding your motorcycle protected by Progressive. And the bugs you wipe from your headlights are all the nature you need. So if you ride, see if you could save with Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Get an online quote in as little as 3 minutes. All from the great indoors. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
If I turn up, can you turn up Fox? She's the podium princess talking to Steve Ducey. I mean, Peter Ducey.
Right there, available to them, and they voted twice against it.
They cut out. That's right. Anyway, we'll talk more about the border czar and her failures. We almost got it. And by the way, anytime, this is live radio, and anytime they're doing something live and it involves these people, we're going to it. Oh, in fact, they have a meeting at 4:30 with Netanyahu in the White House. Let's be there. All right, back to the actual program. AC/DC, I'm sure you can tell that. On this day, 1980, AC/DC came out with their 6th internationally released studio album, Back in Black. It was the first AC/DC album recorded without former lead singer Bon Scott, who died in February 1980, that same year this came out, at the age of 33. The album, Back in Black, sold almost 50 million copies worldwide, the second highest-selling album of all time, and the best-selling hard rock or heavy metal album of all time. Well, I wonder what the best-selling was. Maybe Best of the Eagles or something, or Michael Jackson. It doesn't say. Whenever they do that, it's in front. It's the second best album of all time. Well, what was number 1? That's my question. So anyway, sorry.
ELO.
Well, there we are. Beach Boys. Who knows? Let's see. Kimmer reads the classics. There are a lot of them that were, I got for those. Birthday list includes D.B. Woodside, 55, President Wayne Palmer on 24, and the angel Amenadiel on Lucifer. I know the name, I don't know the kid. Let's see, our history list. It was 25 years ago, 1999, Woodstock 99, the other Woodstock festival, overcrowded. Rome, New York, it was a disaster. It had fires and looting and sexual assaults and a bunch of stoned, stupid, filthy, happy hippies. In 1999 in Rome, New York, another Woodstock. Brother. It's 4:05. How you doing? Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. 4 o'clock hour brought to you by our friends at Atlanta Safe House, home of the Kimmer safes. It's true. You need a safe. Come on, put all your stuff in there. Unlike the Kimmer one, I lost it down in Florida. They have a showroom in Ackworth, and on the web, it's atlantasafehouse.com. Good folks, you'll like them. Go up there and say hi to the Kimmer and the gang. 404-741-1230. 741-1230. Okay, a little bit on Vice President's border czar, and they're still saying, she was never a border czar. Come on. Well, here we go. 6 Democrats today helped the Republicans vote a total of 220 to 196, including 6 Democrats voted to condemn Vice President Border Czar as the worst border czar in the history of the world, ladies and gentlemen. They condemned. 6 Democrats voted to condemn her, which I think is pretty hysterical. And of course, if you're a Democrat in Texas, you better be concerned about your constituents more than you are about the Democrat Party about to lose an election.
They never split. The Republicans do it all the time, but they always vote like the Borg. They're a hive. And for 6 of them to break off?
Yeah. I know. And by the way, Pete just sent this story a short while ago. I think I got it here. When I used to I've never been famous or anything like that, but there were times when I was a lot more well known, and I always made sure if I was at a restaurant, I always tipped. I made great tips. If I was in public doing something, I always made sure that I didn't try to offend somebody, because it makes a difference in how you behave with other people. They really pay attention to that. It's like I've always said, if you're ladies, for example, and guys too, if you're on a date with a new person, you can tell a lot about their personality and their real true character about the way they treat things like waiters and waitresses and parking attendants and just little stuff like that. And I've always been aware of it just because that's the way I was raised. That my folks told when we went outside, might have been 14, 15 years old. The last thing my father said was, "Remember, you're a Peterson." And act like you have some respect for your family and your community. Anyway, but again, I'm an old-fashioned fart, and so you don't take my word for it. Anyway, here's an example of how sometimes this can bite you in the butt, and this is not like it's a major thing, but it's important. A woman writes in to say, I was a golf cart girl at a course in Maryland about 10 years ago. Carmela Sidepiece had, I added that. Carmela had some friends who belonged there, and she came out for a round. When I saw her on the fifth hole, I politely asked her group if they needed anything. They all came up to the cart. Carmela asked if I had any peanuts, but we didn't. So she looked at me like I shot her dog and said, "Wow." And then she asked if I had any Skittles, but we didn't. She said, "You guys need to get it together," in a bitchy tone. She then got 4 Tito's shooters, that's vodka, and complained about how expensive they were. And she didn't leave me a tip or a note or anything, and nor did she even say thanks. Figured I'd watch her next shot. She chunked it 4 feet. Turns out she doesn't just suck. She sucks at golf. It sucks at being a good person. From the cart girl. I'm sure that I have no doubt that that's a true story. No doubt that it's a true story. And by the way, something funny's out there, and I can't find it again, but it popped up on my phone. One of my favorite things we've talked about before is the segments from that Hitler movie, where Hitler's all mad at his staff, and they're afraid to talk to him, and he yells at him. And so I forgot what the name of the movie is, but you know what I'm talking about. And they've done it where he has to ride a Honda in a Harley, motorcycle ride. Atlanta traffic in Atlanta. So you guys get, well, they've got one now where he's trying to talk to Carmela about how bad her ratings are, and they actually show him, and then they have her responding. Well, baby, I'm glad you asked. I mean, it's hysterical, and I don't know where to find it again, but it's out there on social media someplace. Of the new Hitler has now got her as part of it. And speaking of, this is, to me, the entire thing is hysterical. Here now are the latest media talking points. Oh, and Flounder, we're going to replay that the soundbite. I'm going to do it every hour. The soundbite of the liberals talking about Biden's speech last night, too. In case in a minute or two. Don't worry about it. I don't even erase you back there. I think he's answering the phone. Here are the new media talking points. Vice President Harris was never appointed border czar. There's never been such a position as border czar. It doesn't exist. Border czar title was invented by Republicans and press repeats. Was not asked to lead on the administration's immigration or border enforcement policies. POTUS asked her to head administration diplomatic root causes strategies in Central America, not border policy. She was tasked with addressing push factors, giving migrants to flee these countries. She was securing private sector investment, promoting democracy and economic opportunity. Role focus on changing conditions in other countries, not the U.S. border. Border crossings by immigrants from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, the countries in Vice President Harris's root causes portfolio, have decreased dramatically in recent years. The success of this one. Please. Honestly, so every time you hear her name, you got to mention the words border czar. She's got to be stuck with this forever. And by the way, it goes way, way, way worse than that. Hold on a second. Let me got a little something on my phone here, a little research I did for you here, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. I got to go back to the beginning of the. Here we go. And boom. Okay. Now. Oopsie-daisy. Let's see. Question. Was Carmela Sidepiece, the border czar, once rated the most liberal U.S. senator? The answer is yes. In 2019, GovTrack, a nonpartisan congressional tracker, rated Carmela Side Piece, the trampy vice president currently, as when she was a California Democrat, as the most liberal senator. The ideology score is based on whether senators oppose or sponsor or co-sponsor bipartisan legislation. She co-sponsored the failed Medicare for All bill, a national health insurance plan that would have covered every American resident, not citizens. She is also, we played the soundbite of her yesterday where she said everybody who is in America should get free health care. She wanted to get rid of private health insurance. So you can't go to State Farm or whatever, and get your own health insurance or whatever the hell, Humana or something like that. Anyway, she supports positions backed by liberals, including protecting the right to abortion nationally for any time at any reason, the administration effort to fight climate change, gun control, LGBTQ tranny rights, paid family leave, and forgiving student loans. Everything. She was the most liberal senator in America. Well, guess what? GovTrack has now scrapped that and erased it, and so now you can't find it. Here's what they're doing. They're erasing history. She was never border czar. That's not a thing anymore. Oh, my God. Some reaction on X. Carmela has a lot of going for her, all right. China, Iran, the cartels, Hamas, illegal aliens all support her. Can we make her disappear that quickly as GovTrack took down their site? Search engines are wildly one of the most censorships of them all. The worst kind of censorship, and it gets overlooked so much. Archive link. The internet is forever. With Carmela now poised to become the Democratic Party nominee, there's a renewed sense of optimism about a future of American politics, but not one person's ever let his hopes dim like David Hogg, who loves her. The internet lives forever in screenshots. A ministry of truth is working overtime. Creative history. The people think they could just erase everything in gaslights, and we keep the receipts. Anyway, I mean, it's just they wouldn't hide stuff like that. There's a felony now. Oh, wait, never mind. It's all legal theories only to get used on Republicans. Preparing for the revamp. I mean, this is what they do. This is what they do. A couple of quick headlines and founder. Do we have time to play that MOS, or is that too long? We can do it. Okay, it's 4:13. The Babylon Bee has a quick headline from last night's speech by President Stupidface. Biden says he's stepping away to spend more time sniffing his family. Anyway, here's the mainstream media. They got the talking points immediately. Here's how the mainstream media reacts to the president's speech.
Puts Joe Biden in league with the history's most selfless leaders, Roman General Cincinnatus, the father of our country, George Washington.
This was selfless. This was selfless on a level, I think, that's important in a way that we talk about George Washington being selfless.
George Washington and Joe Biden shared that same reason.
George Washington also showed this country how to step down and pass the baton.
I'm not saying that Biden is exactly like Washington, but I do think the act of being able to step away from that power.
George Washington in 1796 walked away from a third term, saying the essence of democracy is that in a democracy, a leader gives up power even when he does not have to.
Well, we don't have a democracy, but that's the thing you do. But again, listen to them. They all said George Washington. How the hell did that come up? That's the last thing. Did you ever in your mind think when you watched that speech that there would be any connection to George Washington?
Yeah. George wasn't pushed out. George wasn't told he had to leave.
It wasn't
George
a coup.
Didn't have health problems.
His own people.
None of it is tied together.
And he never answered the question of why he thought it was time for a change and why he thought it was time for a younger person. Why? Because you're incompetent and they threatened you. The reason is they threatened you, damn it. And now Congress is going to try to investigate whether it was a freaking coup by the 25th Amendment threatened against this scumbag president. 4:15, Kim Repeat, flounder.
Time for the Bortz Report, brought to you by Southern Exteriors, the Southeast's premier home exterior solution. Quality and precision you can rely on for over 20 years. Visit southernexteriors.co.
Well, in my continuing quest to protect truth, justice, and the American way, I'm undergoing the unpleasant task of trying to keep track of all of the things that Kamala Harris might be up to when she becomes president of the United States. God help America. And yes, my friends, I'm very much afraid that she's going to be elected. Okay, I touched on this the other day, one of her plans. She basically wants all American workers to join unions. Unions destroy individuality. Maybe that's one of the reasons behind it. So she's going to ask for new laws that make union organizing much easier. And by the way, she wants an end to all right-to-work laws. Those pesky little laws that some states have that say that you cannot be forced to join a union to work. Kamala Harris wants you to be forced to join a union against your will in order to keep a job. Okay, now how about this one? She signed on with Bernie Sanders to a piece of legislation that would make it illegal to sell private health insurance. In other words, after they get their so-called single-payer plan, national health care, it would be a crime for you to go out and buy a better policy from a private vendor. This is Hillary Clinton stuff. She wanted you to go to jail if you went to a doctor outside of the government health care plan. Kamala Harris, all you have to do is get an insurance policy outside of the plan. Their goal, if they get this in every single election, they will say, if you vote for the Republicans, they're going to take away your health care. Just like they're always saying that about Social Security, but oddly it never happens. Stay alert, folks. Be very afraid, not of me, of her. Neil Bortz, XTRA 106.3.
When storms wreak havoc on your home, who do you trust to make things right? Look no further than Southern Exteriors. Hey, it's Tug. With over 25 years experience, they understand the urgency of storm damage. They offer emergency response and free estimates to assess the situation and get your home back on track. Southern Exteriors is committed to your home's long-term well-being. Whether it's roofing, siding, gutters, windows, or doors, they have the expertise to handle it all. Call 877-9-SOUTHERN or visit southernexteriors.co. Southern Exteriors.co. Southern Exteriors, restoring peace of mind one storm at a time.
The EQE SUV electrifies the spirit, soul, and body of the Mercedes-Benz SUV. User-friendly technology meets thoughtful utility, thorough refinement, and earth-friendlier power. Satisfying for both drivers and passengers with innovations that only Mercedes-Benz can deliver. Experience the all-electric 2024 Mercedes-Benz EQE 350 SUV today. Lease one for just $759 per month for 36 months with $72.53 due at signing. Exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models. And visit today to see how to qualify. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta Sandy Springs through July 31st, 2024. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia Lemon law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit RBMOfAtlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
As an official community partner of the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Braves Foundation, the Warrior Alliance connects warriors and their families to free services such as health and wellness, housing, employment, education, legal services, and so much more. We need your financial support to increase our impact and change thousands of lives for those who served in the U.S. Armed Forces. It takes more than just thank you for your service. Make a donation to help warriors navigate to success after service. Go to thewarrioralliance.org/donate and make a difference today.
This is T-Rex. You know, I never knew the name of this group. I know the song, but it was back in the days when they disc jockeys would just play the records and almost never mention them, or they did it later on or something. Anyway, 1971, T-Rex, number one on the British chart with Get It On. It was their second number one hit, spent 4 weeks at the top. In America, it was retitled Bang a Gong. Remember Bang a Gong? I think this showed up on a Cheers episode one time. With Kelsey Grammer was doing a thing as Fraser Crane or something. Something about Bang a Gong here at the bar. Anyway, T-Rex number one, 1971. There you go. Kim Repeat.
No, that was when he did Everybody Wang Chung,
Wang Chung tonight. Yeah, that might have been too.
It's a very similar song.
Yeah, similar song. And by the way, yeah, I have to say that with his little wife there, who was actually a a famous
Lilith.
Broadway actress, Lilith. She was a very famous Broadway actress, and this comedy, Bebe Neuwirth.
She's on Blue Bloods.
Yeah, and she, I remember the first time when they started getting together, where she was interviewing him, and she was really nasty, but then they started playing footsie off camera or something. I don't know. They had such a great relationship on the show. I kind of missed that stuff. That was a pretty funny show. Anyway, I don't know why we're talking about that. Birthday list includes, I don't know this name, Chantel Van Santen is 39. She's Ryan Phillippe's wife, Julie, on Shooter. Now, wait a minute. Is there a series called Shooter? The movie Shooter, I don't remember Ryan Phillippe in the movie Shooter.
I think it was maybe a Netflix or like a...
Yeah, it had to be another different version.
Yeah, it was a different version. I'm trying to think what it was, if it was a
Ryan
Netflix
Phillippe,
or something like that.
We know Ryan Phillippe, of course, and his wife on the show Shooter, whatever. Anyway, I thought somebody else might know, so just try. I'm a giver. I want to make sure, in case you are a fan of this, you know this. And on this day in history, 1943, oh, God, I hope this doesn't happen to the Bidens. After 21 years as a dictator, Benito Mussolini was overthrown as prime minister of Italy. He and his mistress, Clara Petacci, tried to flee to Switzerland, but they were captured by communist partisans and executed near Lake Como, and their bodies were strung up in Milan for all the world to see.
By their heels. They're hung upside
down. Yeah. The old blood rushed your head there if you still had it on you. That would be the one thing to worry about. Boy, I hope the Jew-hating Democrats don't do that to the Bidens, of being the dictators they've been for all these years. God, let's hope and pray they don't do that to the Bidens. That would be wrong. Let's condemn any kind of violence like that right now, people. There's no joking around here, my friends. 423. By the way, did you know that during his speech last night, when they his speech to the teleprompter, that Hunter and Ashley Biden were there with him while he was doing it? God, I hope he didn't try to feel her up or anything. Jeez, that's why I guess they had to tape recorder, afraid of what he might do if it was all public.
Is it possible for Jill to be there with him? And by the way, he was 8 feet tall. I don't know if you've seen the video. The clone they used last night is 8 feet tall.
Yeah, it's not the same.
He's much larger. Yeah. But can she be there last night and in Paris this morning?
That's what they say.
Concord again?
That's what they're saying. So I don't know. I think she might have a little something over there in Paris. I don't know. I've heard, the French tickler. I mean, it could be maybe the guy loves a tickler. I don't know. It could be a thing. By the way, Carmela, the border czar, is getting ripped from all kinds of people, and for good reason. I hope we can't let this go. If she's the star, they have to keep pointing out. Let's be clear about something, says the current Fraternal Order of Police captain in Houston. Let's be clear, if she's the next president of the United States, she'll be an unmitigated disaster for public safety in this country. She's loudly, proudly supported bail reform, donated and encouraged other people to donate to a fund that helped get murderers, rapists, and people who were shooting other people in the streets out on bail, as in no bail. We're not talking about helping bail out of the mom who stole a candy bar to help feed her kids. We're talking about violent criminals. And bail reform has not worked in any urban community. It's led to American cities experiencing the highest murder rate in recorded history. And we're still living with a fallout of that for the last several years. Police detectives in New York say, oh, my God, we need a leader that's going to be putting people behind bars. Unfortunately, she hasn't done that. How about the riots? Heritage Foundation people did a study. She uses the exact same language as Representative Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and Bernie Sanders when they call for the defunding of police after George Floyd. And we're going to do a lot more about this, too. They refuse to prosecute misdemeanors. They water down felonies to misdemeanors. Don't send violent juveniles to federal adult court. The list goes on and on. This guy at Heritage pointed out to her applause of the defunding of the police by $150 million in 2020 under Mayor Eric Garcetti. She applauds him and other police departments taking $150 million away from the LAPD. You're defunding it. Another criminal, George. Here's what happened. Remember, President's side piece, the border czar, was one of the women who took care of the Minnesota Freedom Fund in June 2020 to get out, bailing out the Black Lives Matter killers, rioters, and mobsters, get them out of jail. But only a fraction of the $41 million she raised went to helping to free the rioters. In fact, they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to free knife murderers, a convicted rapist, a guy named George Howard got the benefit that he was involved in a road rage altercation on the interstate. He shot another driver weeks after bailing out when he beat the crap out of his wife. He got out on bail. A lot of them got out on bail, and she was responsible for it. And now they're going to try to hide that, I guarantee you. One more thing about Kate's Law before you get distracted. 2015. Remember the story? Remember Catherine Steinle? Resulted in Kate's Law. 2015, 32-year-old Catherine Steinle in San Francisco was murdered by an illegal invader who had been thrown out of the country many, many times. Republicans tried to pass a law called the Stop Illegal Reentry Act in response to the murder in San Francisco, where Carmela Harris was the DA. From 2004 to 2011, and the 56-year-old Mexican national Jose Inez Garcia Zarate killed her. He had 7 felony convictions at the time of his latest arrest. He had been deported from the United States to Mexico 6 times. Every time he sneaked back in illegally. Donald Trump said the killing then was yet another example of why we must secure our border immediately. Well, Harris was criticized for continuing to sanctuary city-only policies during her tenure as DA and Attorney General of California, by the way. She signed into an ad decrying anti-immigrant proposals. Quote, this is Carmela, the side piece, borders are saying this. We are a sanctuary city. A city of refuge, and we always will be. Carmela Harris, responsible with her amnesty policies, resulting in tragedies like the murder of Kate Steinle and Laken Riley and more. She was a Senate Democrat, first blocked Kate's Law, which would have mandated a 5-year prison sentence if you sneak in back again into this country. On and on and on. She's the most liberal person who's ever run for office. And they're going to have to try to nail her on it. In fact, the reason that Obama hasn't endorsed her, insiders, this is really cool, Biden insiders are saying this now, that President Barack Hussein Putinat, the divider-in-chief, is very upset about her candidacy and claims he knows she can't win. The insiders claim that Obama believes Harris is incompetent, can't navigate the landmines ahead of her. The source to the Biden family says Obama was shocked that President Scumbag endorsed her so quickly, and he's furious about it all. Obama's upset because he knows she can't win. Obama knows she's incompetent. The borders, this is the source being quoted. The border czar who never visited the border, saying all immigrants should be getting free health care. She cannot navigate the landmines that are ahead of her. The source went on to allege that Obama would instead like to see Arizona Senator and former NASA astronaut Mark Kelly at the top of the ticket. And then others saying, well, he's going to help her. Well, he had no choice now. He's got to do something now. She's it. So now he's screwed. Now he's got to say, can you imagine him holding up her hand saying, yeah, we reunite the Democrat Party for victory? Holy cow. What a bunch of freaking lying, stinking traitors to their country. They'll do anything. Trump's saying they could probably replace her and have a third one in there by the time the convention rolls around. I just don't understand how Democrats can just sit back and watch their party tell you, your vote doesn't count. Let us elites decide who's going to run, and you just rubber stamp it and clap like train seals. Has there been any revolt? Have you seen? I mean, you would think that social media would be. Can you imagine if the Republican Party said, "Well, we're taking Trump off the ballot"? I think there might be some reaction. There's nothing. Yeah. There's no uproar. There's no people taking to the street saying this is not America. Black Lives Matter was the only reaction that was negative to it, and Putinat. I mean, even Black Lives Matter sees through her and knows this is ridiculous that she's running. Nobody has ever liked her. Her own staff doesn't like her. Yeah. I mean, please, she should not be president. Get somebody competent. It doesn't matter what color her skin is or she's a woman. Get someone with a brain. Well, how they picked her because her record as a vice president is horrible, and her record as a senator is all totally leftist, and her record in San Francisco as a DA and the attorney general is all arrest all the black guys smoking weed.
They boxed themselves into a little box canyon there, didn't they?
Yes.
They had to pick her.
That's right. Who else are they going to get picked? Cochise from Massachusetts? He said, I'm going to get a woman, hopefully a black one. And
by the way, they're talking, a lot of people want Shapiro from Pennsylvania because he's smart and he's a good politician. Yeah. But there's a Democrat saying, well, he's Jewish. I don't think we should have a Jewish.
That's
right. They showed their true colors yesterday for their pro-Hamas people.
That's right. And by the way, their statement said, well, violence is never good. Yeah. Oh, gee, thanks for saying. 431, Kipper Pete Flounders. So, Flounders Funnies and holy crap. What's that? You got a signal there?
Gentlemen. I was listening to a rock and roll station on my way over here. It put me in the mood. There was a passage in one of those tribal songs that I feel, is the keynote for this evening. Everybody have fun tonight. Everybody Wang Chung tonight.
Flounder to the rescue, 431.
It's time for your Georgia headlines presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
The Atlanta Police Department is investigating a deadly shooting that happened early this morning at a Chevron gas station off Piedmont Road and Morisco Drive. According to investigators, the incident began when the victim got into an altercation with a security guard. Police are now actively looking for that security guard. Former teacher and coach Lorenzen Denard was arrested on 81 child sex crimes stemming from allegations from his time in the Wilcox County School District. Denard is charged with 77 counts of sexual exploitation of children, 3 counts of electronically furnishing obscene material to a minor, and 1 count of sexual contact by an employee. Denard was booked into the Wilcox County Jail, but has since been released on bond.
For more on Georgia politics and the latest breaking news, follow XTRA 106.3 on social media or download the XTRA 106.3 app.
Hey fans, summer is here and you know what that means. Exterior painting season. At Atlanta Painting Company, this summer, save 10% off of all exterior projects and get a free color consultation. We understand how valuable your home is, so protect your investment with our industry-leading warranty and unmatched customer service. Don't just take our word for it. We have over 900 Google reviews telling you why we're the painters you can trust. Ready to get started? Visit us online at atlantapaintingcompany.com to schedule your free home consultation. The Atlanta Painting Company, the painters you can trust.
Who says you have to wait until December to celebrate Christmas? Hi, I'm Jaron Solomon. Right now at Solomon Brothers Jewelers, we're celebrating Christmas in July in all of our locations in Buckhead, Alpharetta, and Sharpsburg. Stop in today and enjoy our 12 days of deals on everything in our stores. Surprise your special someone with a beautiful diamond tennis bracelet, earrings, ring, or necklace. And to make your purchase even easier, Solomon Brothers Jewelers is offering up to 60 months interest-free financing. That's 5 years to pay for that special gift, interest-free. And while you're at it, why not break out the tree, string up the lights, and pour yourself some eggnog? Make this a Christmas to remember with our 12 days of deals. Don't wait until December. Find some of the biggest savings of the year at Solomon Brothers Jewelers during our Christmas in July event. Visit us on Peachtree Road in Buckhead, Old Milton Parkway in Alpharetta, and Fisher Road in Sharpsburg, and online at SolomonBrothers.com. Solomon Brothers Jewelers, now the preferred jeweler of the Atlanta Braves.
Hey Atlanta, it's Mark from Atlanta Safe House. The Safe House crew hopes everyone is enjoying their vacation this summer. We know the criminals are watching and waiting for you to leave so they can bust in and steal your stuff. But hey, there is a solution. Come purchase a quality safe from Atlanta Safe House. And with summer rebates and specials, you can save hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a quality safe. And remember, don't let an illegal or crackhead deliver or move your safe. They could very well know your combination. So drop by the showroom or go to atlantasafehouse.com.
At Nelson Elder Care Law, we understand that family's everything. That's why we prioritize your family's future with personalized asset protection solutions. Call us today to schedule your legacy planning meeting and discover how our team can tailor our services to meet your family's unique needs, ensuring a secure and worry-free future. NelsonElderCareLaw.com.
At the Piedmont Bank, we're proud to be one of Georgia's largest community banks, focusing on serving businesses and the communities they serve. With headquarters right here in Metro Atlanta, our tailored banking expertise and solutions help meet the diverse needs of our customers so they have what it takes to grow, expand, and thrive. It's what elevates us above the rest. Find a location near you at Piedmont.bank and experience elevated banking for you and your business. The Piedmont Bank. Banking elevated. Member FDIC and equal.
And let's see. Birthdays include Verdine White, 73, plays with Earth, Wind, and Fire. 73 years old, Verdine White. And on this day in history, 1969, Senator Edward Kennedy gets away with murder and cowardice in the escape from his submerged car that he drove off the Chappaquiddick Bridge, leaving Mary Jo Kopechne, his pregnant girlfriend, to clutch scratching at the windows for him to save her. But golly, he tried to save her. He dove down there like a couple of times and everything, but he was scared, man. He couldn't see anything. You can't breathe underwater. God, he's trying to breathe and he couldn't do anything, so he had to get out of there, I mean, geez, God, he almost drowned, God. Kennedy got 2 months suspended jail sentence and remains, to this day, even in his death, a Democratic hero forever. So, what a freaking scoundrel. Swear to God. Anyway, 438. Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder, how's it going? 404-741-1230. Shall we do a little something here? I have a new sign holding up for Flounder. They can't read it, but now you know. If you read a sign I hope you can't read, it's the tweet sign. Pete's sign. With Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder, and Pete's tweets.
Senator Chris Murphy, Democrat from Connecticut, during the riots in D.C. yesterday, attacked Israeli Prime Minister's speech before Congress, tweeting, "The suggestion that any American who objects to the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza is a Hamas sympathizer was way out of bounds." 6 hours later, the same senator tweeted, "I've seen disturbing images coming out of today's protests at the Capitol. Pro-Hamas cheers and messages of hate and anti-Semitism have no place in our country."
Well, I'll be damned. Yeah, not like you asked for.
Life comes at you fast, Chrissy. Come on.
Yeah.
Emily tweets, "I'm not voting for her because she's a woman. I'm voting for her because she wants me to have as many rights as a man." To which Michelle Tafoya responded, "Sweetie, you do have as many rights as a man, unless you're referring to your diminishing rights as a female athlete."
Sweetie.
Sweetie. Chloe Cole, who reversed her transgenderism but too late to have kids, tweets, "Maybe instead of getting mad about people calling out groomers in the trans community, you could try kicking the groomers out of the trans community. Just a thought from someone who got groomed in the trans community." And a Pakistani woman living here in America had an uncle back in Pakistan who asked her, what does woke mean? And she told him. His response was, these people in the West are spoiled and have never had real problems, so they create problems because they're bored.
In fact, that is a perfect tie-in to Jennifer Aniston's kind of a leftist squeaky girl rant against J.D. Vance. Now, I'm going to mention some comments here that J.D. Vance mentioned, which are provocative, but they're meant to be because it's part of a political campaign and things like that. But here's the story. Jennifer Aniston, and by the way, everybody's on a podcast now. Every time I mention something about a celebrity, it's because they were on a podcast. Should we try to bring back our podcast? Well, we made almost $12,000 in 2 years.
Come on.
After all you people said you'd support it. Sorry. I'm sorry. I was the ugly. Well, you did, damn it.
True.
I was trying to make a living.
They lied to us.
I could have made like 30 grand. I could have lived on 30 grand. If I could have made 30,000, I would have been happy. Jesus.
Bottom line, we effed up. We trusted them.
Yeah, we trusted them. Yeah, let's do that again. Jennifer Aniston on somebody's podcast said, made comments that resurfaced this week. The comments about J.D. Vance that came up. J.D. Vance, back 3 years ago, was interviewed on Fox News, and the clip that Jennifer Aniston played on some podcast shared the hillbilly elegy author referenced Democratic politicians and claimed that America, this is J.D. Vance now, claimed America was being controlled by childless cat ladies who were miserable at their own lives and want to make the rest of the country miserable too. Okay. And so Jennifer Aniston, who's 55 now, said, I truly can't believe this is coming from a potential vice president of the United States. This is what gets me. All I can say is, Mr. Vance, I pray that your daughter is fortunate enough to bear children of her own one day. I hope she will not need to turn to IVF, in vitro fertilization, as a second option because you're trying to take that away from her, too. You snotty little snot. Jennifer Aniston had IVF or whatever, so now she says she's claiming that J.D. Vance is going to stop women from getting in vitro fertilization, which is nonsense. And so she brings up, when you start talking about somebody's daughter, those are fighting words, my friend. I mean, unless he's a coke addict who's been responsible for getting millions of dollars for the family as a part of a crook, crime family, that's different. Anyway, how does it make any sense? We've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it, he said. People without children are controlling the entire future of Democrats. And so Jennifer Aniston's all ticked off. Well, think about it. Well, angry, self-loathing white women who, 24 years old, who went to Middlebury or Radcliffe or someplace, or Agnes Scott or Emory are going crazy. And people are listening to, these are the social media people determining everything. If there was no cell phone social media, none of this would be happening, by the way, because nobody'd pay attention to them. Think about it. If you're not that many years ago, if your phone rang and you didn't feel like you just get the answering machine to it. Nowadays, if somebody texts you, chances are you're getting it. You're opening it. Maybe not me and you, but people in there, of the younger age are just always doing that. And I don't know.
Have you noticed all these women that go on there with their videos on TikTok? They all have colored hair. Yeah. They're all plump. And they all got nose rings, but they're all individualists. Yeah, but they all look like come out of the same swine herd.
Oh, by the way, some of these activists just got a what for? Remember the people, the couple of chicks, Ann Hollard and Phoebe somebody, 22 years old, were members of the so-called Just Stop Oil. It's a political protest group called Just Stop Oil. And these are the idiots who throw tomato soup over the Van Gogh painting. It was the 1888 masterpiece painting. They threw Heinz soup at the Dutch artist masterpiece on display at the National Gallery in October 2 years ago. Then they got out the glue and they kneeled down and opened tubes of super glue, lathered it all over their left hands and fixed their hands to the wall so they were glued to the wall. They denied they did anything wrong. They were convicted of damaging property. And the oil canvas itself, were valued at like $80 million, was protected by a glass cover, but they did mess up the 1600-year-something Italian frame. They damaged that. They refused to say who was helping them and who was giving them instructions of what to do. They were convicted of criminal trespass damage. Now, the judge, this is pretty interesting. Check this out. The judge, Christopher Heyer, is expected to bail the pair ahead of sentencing them on a date to be fixed. But last week, I wonder if this is a misprint. Last week, this judge jailed some group, Just Stop Oil co-founder, Roger Hallam, 58, and 4 other activists. He jailed them for a total of 21 years after they helped bring the standstill to the highway on the museum thing on 4 consecutive days. They crossed the line from concerned campaigner to fanatic. Holy smokes, how cool is that? It's about time. That's what. In fact,
lined up against a wall.
Donald Trump says anybody who burns the American flag, now of course it's never going to pass, anybody who burns the American flag should go to jail for a year. That'll stop that pretty quick.
And anyone who tries to destroy one of the crowning achievements of Western civilization needs to be lined up against a wall like they're in Mexico during the Revolution.
Well, the thing that kills me, again, this free speech business, once again, come back to this topic, all of that violence that happened yesterday and last night again. They arrested a couple of dozen. But the fact of the matter, these people are not afraid of being sentenced in the draft to go fight Hamas in Israel. I mean, there's no danger to them. They just hate Jews. They're just protesters who hate Jews. I mean, that's hardly a legitimate excuse for protesting like you were against the Vietnam War to try to bring the troops home. This isn't it. You're just Jew haters, and they're all Democrats. 447, Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. Shannon at 5:30.
How in the world was a shooter allowed to wait on that roof to shoot at the former president of the United States and a candidate in this year's election?
Catch Neil's commentary every day on XTRA 106.3 and the XTRA app.
The summer's got you thinking about hitting the road, and with back to school right around the corner, you need a vehicle built for the road and safe enough for the family. And Subaru of Gwinnett on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth has it for you. Like the 2024 Subaru Outback, which will take you as far as you want to explore with symmetrical all-wheel drive, plus up to 32 miles per gallon. And if you're up for adventure, it'll get you off the beaten path with up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance, more than Honda CR-V or Toyota RAV4, or the Subaru Forester, the SUV for all the adventures ahead, with a spacious and comfortable interior for everyone you want to bring along. And no matter where the adventure takes you, it starts on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth with the amazing staff at Subaru of Gwinnett. They'll help you find the Subaru that you love and be there every step of the way for everything you need. Start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com or come visit us today on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth. We're Subaru of Gwinnett.
When storms wreak havoc on your home, who do you trust to make things right? Look no further than Southern Exteriors. Hey, it's Tug. With over 25 years experience, they understand the urgency of storm damage. They offer emergency response and free estimates to assess the situation and get your home back on track. Southern Exteriors is committed to your home's long-term well-being. Whether it's roofing, siding, gutters, windows, or doors, they have the expertise to handle it all. Call 877-9-SOUTHERN or visit southernexteriors.co. southernexteriors.co. Southern Exteriors, restoring peace of mind one storm at a time.
Shooting drills. A coach who knows the game can teach their team how to improve, but one who genuinely cares about each player
You have what it takes. We got this.
can inspire them to win. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
No one plans on going to jail, but at A Second Chance Bail Bonds, we believe everyone deserves a second chance. That's the driving force behind everything we do. If you or a loved one has been arrested across town or across the country, you need help now. A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast with bondsmen throughout Atlanta to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT. That's 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
Neil Borch here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, cpapsetc.com.
Diamonds Direct Atlanta is now open. The nation's fastest growing jewelry store now has a location right here in Buckhead. Shopping for the perfect ring to pop the question? Or maybe an everyday diamond tennis bracelet? The experts at Diamonds Direct are sure to have exactly what you're looking for, no matter the occasion. With the lowest direct importer pricing, you can expect the best selection of certified diamonds at unmatched prices, all within a luxury showroom atmosphere that makes you feel right at home. Come see what other jewelers are trying to replicate. Diamonds Direct's unbeatable after-the-sale guarantees and warranties are the best you can find. Free cleanings, sizing, polishing, accent diamond replacement for the lifetime of your purchase. If that's not enough, they also offer a 110% upgrade policy for you to use as often as you'd like on your diamond engagement ring, pendant, or studs. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, come see how Diamonds Direct is reinvigorating the jewelry industry at their brand new Buckhead showroom. When you want to have complete confidence in your jewelry buying experience, shop with the experts at Diamonds Direct. Now open on the corner of Maple Drive Northeast and Peachtree.
The Beatles. Beatles, 1964. That was their third album, A Hard Day's Night. Started a 21-week run at the top of the British charts. It was the first Beatles album to be recorded entirely on 4-track tape, allowing for good stereo mixes. 1964. The Timber Beatles, the old Beatles. We got a couple updates on the Biden doctor guy and also on Catherine Herridge with another report about an inside Secret Service job. We'll get to that. First, to the phones. Mark, you're on the radio. Mark, what's up? What do you think?
Yo, Tim. So, Uncle Joe says he's wanting to do what's best for the nation.
Yeah, best for the nation.
And you're going to tell me Kamala is what's best?
Well, again...
Anyhow, actually, it is what's best. There's not a snowball's chance in hell that she's going to win, okay? Mugham and Mugham came out and they said, we're not supporting this.
Yeah.
He was a huge donor.
Yeah.
Did I say that? I meant Morgan and Morgan. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And anyhow, then let's change subjects to the Stop Oil.
Yeah.
I have a great answer for how to deal with these people. You know, when they super glue themselves to the wall, to the floor, to the road, or whatever, and chain themselves also. If you want to see how fast they can find the key or separate themselves from what they've been glued to, have you ever seen that hot pepper stuff for bird feeders at Home Depot?
That keeps the squirrels off your bird house and stuff.
Yeah, so you dress up a bucket full of that and pour it right where they're sitting.
Yeah, there you go.
And let it run down to where they're sitting. I promise you, they'll find the key or they'll figure out how to make that glue separate.
Well, my favorite way would do it would be to slice off their hands at the wrist and leave them glued to the exhibit. And then stop and cauterize the bleeding from the rest of the wrist and have that be part of the exhibit to show what's like when you try to take care of the Van Goghs and everything in this world. Good.
Well, I agree with you on that, but...
it's harsh. It's a little harsh. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Mark, thank you, my friend. Always a pleasure to talk to you. 404-741-1230. 404-741-1230. Oh, God. Hold on. 554 Flounders Funnies right here. A couple updates coming up. What do you got?
Now, speaking of travel, people think, everybody I talk to about comedy and so forth, most people think that the hardest thing about being a comedian is getting up on stage in front of an audience. And that might be the case for some folks, but, not me. I've always loved being the center of attention no matter where I go. That's why funerals have always been a little harder for me. I'm not proud of that. Trust me. Just incredibly insecure, very desperate for attention, so I don't want to hear about somebody else for an hour. You know, Bill was a good man. Yeah, well, Bill didn't take off work today. I know, that's a dark joke.
That's cold.
And karma is real, because my 8-year-old daughter, Skylar, is just like me. And, well, that's why I don't like her, to be honest with you. She's the best, but she is like me. She loves being the center of attention. In fact, she was actually upset when we told her she was going to have a little sister a couple years ago. 4 years old, she was depressed. I said, well, honey, now you know how I felt when you got here. Our plan, my wife and I, our plan was to have one child if we were lucky enough to have one. But then after we had one, we both decided that we both wanted to have a favorite.
That's what Louis C.K. used to do stuff about with his kids all the time. What's that? Who's that guy there?
His name is Eric Lydon.
Eric Lydon. We've heard him before. He's a good, funny guy. Couple of quick updates in here. First of all, President baby killer, pervert, child molester's doctor says he's just fine. Apparently, let me give him a little thing out here. His physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, defended his boss's excellent cognitive fitness today, insisting he does not have Parkinson's. He was seen at the White House. Let's see. A Post reporter said, "Are you Dr. O'Connor?" as he was going to the White House driveway, walked past the briefing room. And the doctor said, I don't know, sheepishly. And then he made clear, yes, I'm in fact the elusive doctor, and answered a couple of questions. The guy said, how's the president's health? He said, it's excellent. Are you going to come to the briefing room to address us? No, probably not. Could that change before the end of his term? I hope not, Connor said. How's his mental cognition? And he said, it's excellent. Is there a reason you didn't perform a cognitive test on him? He said. He asked. We don't need to. He's here every day, the doctor said. As he turned to walk away, the Post reporter said, Dr. O'Connor, is there anything to that speculation that there might be something related to Parkinson's that he has? O'Connor, the doctor said, no, he's good. And the Parkinson's specialist's visit to the White House, did that have anything to do with that concern, the Post asked? No, he's seen him 3 times. My letter was clear. And off he went. So there you go. Anyway, if he's not fit enough to run for president, how could he be fit enough to be president? There we go. Neurologist said I've diagnosed him from across the mail. One of the easier movements diagnosed is Parkinson's. Anyway, we've talked about this stuff before. And the other breaking story in just now is Catherine Herridge. According to a whistleblower the night before the rally, the Secret Service repeatedly denied offers from a local law enforcement partner to see if they wanted to use their drone technology to secure the rally, and they said no. Reaction, I'm standing by my initial statement, 100% inside job. So their Secret Service denied the offer of drone surveillance from local law enforcement, whom the Secret Service then later tried to blame while witnessing the shooter deploy his own drone several times. Yeah, nothing to see here, folks. Holy smokes, they were understaffed and denied additional help? Hard to deny foul play at that point. God, prosecute Cheadle, the girl who's finally resigned. Tell me again this wasn't JFK Part 2. Don't think of government organizations as corrupt. Think of them as infiltrated by people with ulterior motives or ideologies. Not everyone, obviously, but it doesn't take everyone to create a comedy of errors. It just takes a couple infiltrators at key operational positions, allowing it to happen. Will we find out who refused the drones and why? Someone needs to be held responsible. Unacceptable. Attempt on Trump's life. Everyone involved should be fired at a minimum. It's like Pelosi ignoring Trump's offer to give her National Guards for J6. She said no, because it would have looked bad. And she wanted it to happen so they could complain about it. If there was no security, they knew something bad would happen. I'm telling you, these people, this is America. This is real. We're not making this up. This is not a conspiracy. This is the news. I mean, you're listening to it. It's breaking right now. This is life right now. You're part of what has happened to this country, and it's not stopping. Coming up on 5 o'clock. Holy crap, it's sports, latest on the news and all that stuff. Kevin, Pete, and Flounder. How you doing?
292 EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. This hour is presented by Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches.
Now the vice president meets with the prime minister. I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News. Kamala Harris has arrived back in Washington from a campaign appearance in Houston, scheduled to meet with Benjamin Netanyahu at this hour. The prime minister met earlier today with and congratulated President Biden.
I want to thank you for 50 years of public service and 50 years of support for the state of Israel.
The president, in his address last night to the nation, said he would continue to work toward peace in the Middle East for the remainder of his term. The House today approved a resolution condemning the administration's border policies, and Vice President Harris' support of them, even as an effort is underway to clarify her role at the border.
Fox News has obtained a paper with talking points about how to discuss Vice President Kamala Harris's role in dealing with the crisis at the southern border. The paper claims the term border czar was made up by Republicans and that Harris was rather tasked with addressing the root causes of mass migration. Fox is told the paper was being handed out to Democrat lawmakers on the House floor this week. One Republican lawmaker pushing back on the talking points, saying the vice president, quote, owns every tragedy as a result of the Biden administration's policies.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz at the Capitol. The First Lady, Jill Biden, is in Paris, offering a pep talk today to American Olympic athletes.
We are more than our jobs or our political parties. We are all, first and foremost, Team USA.
The First Lady will represent the U.S. at the opening ceremonies tomorrow. For the second time this season, there's been a no-hitter in Major League Baseball. Dylan Cease of the San Diego Padres holding the Washington Nationals hitless in a 3-0 win. Wall Street stocks closing mixed. The Dow up 81 points. NASDAQ and the S&P 500 both closing lower. America is listening to Fox News.
NYPD officer Jonathan Diller's tragic story made national headlines this year. Now, Jonathan was shot and killed by a career criminal during a traffic stop. Jonathan, who is just 31 years old, leaves behind his wife Stephanie and 1-year-old son Ryan. Now, nothing will ever replace the loss of a husband and a father, but the Tunnel to Towers Foundation was able to pay off the mortgage on the Diller family's home. Please commit to $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Hear that? The sound of water being poured on 800-degree rocks. If you were here in this sauna, you'd be so hot you wouldn't have the energy to move. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens out on the road, riding your motorcycle protected by Progressive. Besides, after a long ride, a helmet sweat is way more satisfying. So if you ride, switch to Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer, without even breaking a sweat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Let's get it together, ladies. Left shoulder, right of blank. Ready on your dog, target. Road guards out. Stand by. It's only me. It's only the Kimmer with Pete Davis and Flounder on 106.3. 5:03 on the clock. How you doing? There's a number 404-741-1230. 404-741-1230. Shannon Burke's going to join us around 5:30 or so from Man Country in Florida, or Florida Man. What is it? Florida Man Country, I think it's calling it these days.
Florida Man Radio.
Florida Man Radio. There we go. Now we're talking. I know it was close. It was Florida, and there's a man in there.
On your mind,
He's in the country. We knew all the. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out my stupid thing here with the thing. 5:04 now with the Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. 404-741-1230. Okay, now Billington thing's going to. Updates are the latest thing, and if you want to join us, did you watch the speech last night? Honestly, I'm so ticked off about it that, and I mean, a couple of things. First of all, it was obviously not live. And I mean, the reaction on social media, and when I looked at it, I wondered whether he was going to be able to pull it off. But I'm trying to remember now. I don't think I ever heard an announcer say, "And now live from the White House, the President of the United States." I think they believe said, "And now from the White," and they obviously tape recorded it because people were very clear when they looked at his watch, and the president's watch said 6 o'clock. And it was 8 o'clock. So obviously they videotaped it because they knew he was so incompetent that he'd screw it up if they went live. I mean, by the way, wouldn't that have been the nail in the coffin if he had done another screw up where he lost it? Oh, God. Anyway, there are people reacting to this pretty quickly. The time on his watch doesn't match the time of the supposed live broadcast. If they're lying about that, what else are they lying about? The address to the teleprompter, Nation tonight, how come his watch shows everybody spotted the whole thing. Holy crap, that must be the new Joe Biden with a new skin mask. The first note I wrote down on my sheet of paper last night watching him was Orange Man. I mean, come on. But he pulled it off, they did, and he didn't actually pull it off because it became nothing but a hate speech. I had one note after another I wrote about how he was complaining about the other party being disrespectful. He said he was complaining about the hate from the other side. He wanted to unite my party. He gave a political hate speech from the Oval Office, which was not a live address to the teleprompter. It was a recorded announcement of basically a Democrat rally talking point. He said that we face the worst attack on our soil since the Civil War, talking about Donald Trump and the so-called insurrection. He wants to reform the Supreme Court. He talked about bringing back honesty and decency, and that was his goal, to bring honesty and decency back in the political party and get away from hate speech. I mean, everything he said was a bunch of crap. This is the most hate-filled hate speech president. This is the most hate speech person in public office you've ever heard. Even Hitler didn't say hate half of your people in the country. He's sure he wanted to kill the people he was trying to kill, but he didn't try to divide his own people. I mean, my God, no one's been as hate-filled as this guy. Ever. And he was one supposed to bring us together, please. And every time he says at the end of all his speeches, for some reason, the last couple of months, he now ends every single one of them with, God bless our troops. You freaking phony. You lousy dirtbag. I mean, do not feel sorry for this man. He's a criminal. He's a child molester. He's a traitor to his country. And he hates the military. He doesn't give a damn about the military. God, give me a break. I mean, this is just offensive. And it should have been live. There's no way. I mean, it was a political announcement. It was a hate-filled political announcement from the Oval Office. This is, again, the disrespect that they show to America. It's right out loud. It's right there. It's just, in fact, I'll tell you what, Flounder. I'm doing this every hour. Let's again play the MOS. I'm telling you, some of the talking points now. Oh, she was never the border czar, and he's got the greatest economy in the world. Well, after the speech last night, the Democrat. I don't know how they got this together so quickly, but I promise you're going to hear this. It's a montage of comments from the liberal commentators and the liberal people, and you're going to hear the main theme. And I bet you that not one of you, and I know I never in a million years listening to that so-called speech or that address to the teleprompter last night, I never would have made the connection you're about to hear her with these liberals.
This act puts Joe Biden in league with history's most selfless leaders, Roman General Cincinnatus, the father of our country, George Washington.
This was selfless. This was selfless on a level, I think, that's important in a way that we talk about George Washington being selfless.
George Washington and Joe Biden shared that same reason.
George Washington also showed this country how to step down and pass the baton.
I'm not saying that Biden is exactly like Washington, but I do think the act of being able to step away from that power.
George Washington in 1796 walked away from a third term saying the essence of democracy is that in a democracy, a leader gives up power even when he does not have to.
Oh, God. George Washington?
I guarantee you most of the people had no clue that George Washington did that before they got the memo.
And I guarantee you nobody had any idea about a third term or anything else. And I mean, absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Or who Cincinnatus is.
Yeah. And by the way, it's the same thing as these Jew-hating Democrats, screamers, who complain about Hamas and complain about Netanyahu being in America. They don't know anything about what's over there. They don't have any stake in this fight. These freaking liberals, I'm telling you, it's just outrageous from the very, very beginning. Oh, in fact, and there's more about the Vice President, Carmela's side piece. Now she's never the border czar. There was never such a position. It was all invented by Republicans. I mean, there's a whole list. Honestly, I'm not making this up.
Rewriting history. Just rewriting history right in front of us. Believe what we tell you, not what your eyes and ears tell you.
Her focus was on other countries, not America's border. Come on. Yeah, and then they put her in charge of AI. That was that woman in charge of artificial intelligence, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, 5:10, Kimmer Pete and Flounder, Holy Crap at Sports, and Shannon Burke is going to join us here shortly with a Kimmer Pete and Flounder here, too. Look out.
Latest breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust. Your best new follow on social media is XTRA 106.3. We're at XTRA 106.3 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Extra personalities. Get the latest on our live events, and so much more. Follow at XTRA 106.3 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
And now this dramatic pause. Did your thing freeze? Are you even in? I don't see Flounder. Oh my God, I don't see Flounder. Are you in there? I don't know if he's in there.
Being in an accident really bites. You need people around you that are going to make the whole process easier to deal with. I just described David Van Sant at Van Sant Law. He used to work for the insurance companies. What an advantage. He knows who to call, what to say, and they're not going to pull the wool over his eyes. Give him a call. Van Sant Law, 855-GA-INJURY, vansantlaw.com, 855-GA-INJURY.
When your equipment breaks down, stop by Howard Brothers for all of your parts needs. They've got your supply of Kawasaki filters, belts, blades, and everything else you need to keep your equipment in top shape. At Howard Brothers, they will ensure you get exactly what you need. Whether you're powering up a lawnmower, string trimmer, or a tiller, you can trust they have the right parts and the best service around. And Kawasaki engines deliver the power and performance that Howard Brothers customers demand. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Kawasaki and Howard Brothers.
Have you thought about securing your hard-earned assets? Do you have concerns about the future? Protecting assets is crucial, and that's where Nelson Elder Care Law excels. As a family-owned and family-focused firm, we provide absolute assurance and peace of mind through our trademarked Absolute Protection Trust, tailored services in estate planning, probate administration, Medicaid crisis solutions, guardianship, and conservatorship. Our goal is to exceed your expectations and empower informed decisions. Visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com for asset protection and peace of mind.
It's that time of year again when the owner of Central Heating and Air Conditioning, Chuck, brings back the 4th annual Christmas in July, benefiting Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. Hey, it's Tug for Central Heating and Air Conditioning. If you want to help give back to the community, all you have to do is sign up for a maintenance agreement with Central Heating and Air Conditioning, and $10 from every new maintenance agreement will go directly to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. The more maintenance agreements you sign up for, the bigger and better we can make the 4th annual Christmas in July for Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. Central services all makes and models. With Central, you're not just a number, you're a member of the family. It's been that way since 1947, and they've serviced over 100,000 customers right here in Atlanta. So call 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com to sign up for a maintenance agreement and help Chuck and Central Heating and Air give back to the community. Carrier products, Carrier warranty, and Carrier peace of mind. Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta Carrier experts.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
It is so important to prepare in case of any emergency, and there's one place you can do that, and that's True Prep in Marietta on Cobb Parkway. But before you get into preparing, you need to know everything that goes into preparing. That's why they have all these great classes. They always have an intro to emergency preparedness class. What about a bug out bag? Make sure that you go to their class on that. And also, don't forget, they also do blood drives, everything else. It's your one-stop shop for preparedness. True Prep, Marietta, Cobb Parkway, or online, trueprep.com. That's TRUprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow at True Prep.
Foundation repair isn't pretty, but at Atlanta Ramjack, we make it easy. If you notice any cracks in your foundation, they need to be addressed as soon as possible to reduce additional costs that come with the repair. Why call us? Foundation repair is all we do. We have highly trained estimators that will thoroughly evaluate your home and only recommend what is needed. If you are experiencing foundation problems, please contact us at ramjack.com/Atlanta or call us at 770-502-8881.
Katie Pavlich got that wild hairdo going for her today. Annoying little creature there. Our 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Lee Brandt Jewelers, where luxury jewelry and watches are affordable. Drop by their store in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com. Hey, 5:16. Holy crap, it's sports with Pete Davis.
Braves try their luck on the road tonight up in Flushing against the Mets. The 13-3 Chris Sale against the right-hander Luis Severino. He is 7-3 at their New York. Alan Winans was sent back down to Gwinnett. In more bad news, Michael Harris placed on the 60-day injured list.
No.
Manager Brian Snicker says the center fielder's still a long way to go with that hamstring injury.
Oh, man.
Not good right there. Good news, though. Austin Riley back in the lineup tonight after seeing the birth of his son. He will bat second. Nacho batting seventh, playing second base, and Ramon Laureano batting eighth in right field. They recalled Daysbel Hernandez from Gwinnett, but infielder Zach Short designated for assignment to open up a spot. And outfielder Forrest Wall, who was DFA'd by the Braves on the 22nd, has been picked up on waivers by the Marlins. Dylan Cease of the Padres threw that franchise's second no-hitter ever today. Whoa. Happened up in Washington, D.C. against the Nationals, a 3-0 win for San Diego. And despite the past week, the Bravos are still looked upon favorably by the betting public. The Braves have the fifth best odds of winning the World Series, according to Fox Sports MLB and Bear Bets Pod. They're at plus 950, with only the Orioles, Yankees, Phillies, and Dodgers having better odds. LA has the best odds at plus 320.
Good
So
Lord.
I'm sure you all know what that means.
Oh, yeah. No idea.
Please say a prayer for Freddie Freeman's son, Maximus. His evening at the ballpark Wednesday turned to a night at the local hospital. His wife says he raced from Dodger Stadium to the nearby emergency room to be with their sick son. Chelsea Freeman said in a post on Instagram just before Freddie and the Dodgers took on the Giants in L.A. that Maximus, the couple's youngest boy, needed a prayer after he had come down with what doctors believe was transient synovitis. Now, TMZ reports the ailment causes extreme pain and discomfort in the hip, thought to have stemmed from a viral infection the 3-year-old got during the Freeman's trip to the All-Star game in Texas last week or two. Jeez. Turns out they were in the ER until 3:30 this morning, L.A. time, but tests have shown no infection or virus, and good news there, Freddie is playing today. He says he will be playing.
Wow, good wishes.
Yeah. Justin Verlander's sore neck has just gotten him kicked out of a top 10 list. 3-time Cy Young Award winner Max Scherzer moved into 10th place on the career strikeout list and the most among active pitchers when the Rangers right-hander recorded his 3,394th strikeout today against the White Sox. Scherzer passed fellow 3-time Cy Young winner Verlander of the Astros, who's been out since early June with the neck injury. Today's anger issues injury comes from Oakland, where star closer Mason Miller fractured his left pinky by punching a table after Monday's win. A win. Miller's one of few pieces the A's have that are worth trading. It was not his pitching pinky, but I wouldn't put that hand up for any hotline drives coming back to the mound anytime soon.
Oh, boy.
And speaking of odds, as we did earlier, you can bet on which college football coach will be fired first this season. Billy Napier of the Gators is number one, 4-1 odds. The Razorbacks, Sam Pittman, 5-1. Clark Leah Vandy, 8-1. The Buckeyes, Ryan Day, 12-1. Shane Beamer, the Gamecocks, 16-1. Clemson's Dabo Sweeney, 25-1. Also, Lincoln Riley of the Trojans, that same. The Sooners, Brent Venables, 33-1. And Deion Sanders of the Buffaloes, 50-1 odds to be fired first on betonline.ag.
I'll be darned.
Doug was whining on Twitter about how without the Crimson Tide, the SEC would be nothing. So Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South responded, fine, let's just pretend Alabama was independent for the last 17 years. Here are the national titles won by conference during that 17-year stretch without Bama. SEC 6, ACC 3, Big Ten 2. The SEC still had more titles than everybody else combined without Alabama.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, so
we rock.
And what may be the most delusional statement since Joe Biden last spoke last night, Iowa head coach Kirk Ferentz says, we have the potential to be a good offensive team. Yeah, and I have the potential of dating Sydney Sweeney. Last season, the Hawkeyes had the second worst scoring offense in college football, 15 points per game. I don't think they even know about the forward pass up in Iowa City. Someone needs to show them a film of Joe Montana or maybe Otto Graham tossing the old pigskin around so they know it's legal. You can throw it forward.
Yeah, it's go.
I'm telling you. The Falcons signed offensive tackles Julian Davenport and Zach Bailey to a 90-man roster. Davenport originally picked Texans, the 4th round of the 2017 NFL Draft. He's played for several teams, including the UFL San Antonio Brahmins. So, you know, he's got to be good. Bailey first entered the league as an undrafted free agent with the Buccaneers in 2019. He's also been on several teams. The Falcons released punter Ryan Sanborn and offensive tackle Ryan Call, both undrafted free agents. New quarterback Kirk Cousins wants to play in the first exhibition game, but new coach Raheem Morris doesn't plan on putting him in there. The Russell Wilson era has gotten off to a great start with the Steelers, or he's already pulled up lame with a calf injury.
Oh, boy.
So Justin Fields is getting all the first-team reps at quarterback for Pittsburgh right now. I'm so sorry, Steelers fans. It's going to be a long year. The Paris Olympics have not even officially begun.
Yeah.
Already the Australian and Argentinian teams have been robbed, a soccer match abandoned due to violence, and a flaming tranny delivered the Olympic flame. The Olympics really do represent the state of the world, don't they? They reflect us all.
Unbelievable.
And speaking of the games, you can do a lot of wild things in gay Paris, but drinking alcohol at the sporting venues ain't one of them. A 30-year-old French law prohibits selling alcohol at the sporting events unless you're being served a full meal at a VIP tent. You can drink Coke or water or non-alcoholic beer, even with a squeeze of lemon, but no champagne or wine or beer. You can get such famous French cuisines, though, as a $10 hot dog, an $11 cheeseburger, or a $4 chocolate chip cookie. Vive la France, that famous French cuisine, a hot dog. Former Wizard star Gilbert Arenas was not impressed when the U.S. men only beat South Sudan by 1 point last week. Quote, the males almost lost to some Africans. We almost lost to the Ahi tribe. That's a fish, I think. This is crazy. Joel Embiid over there throwing the game for his cousins. Gilbert also compared the Sudanese to the Jamaican bobsledding team from the movie Cool Running starring John Candy. Yes. He also said the Sudanese get their shoes from America and they don't even have basketball rims, dog. They shooting on peach baskets in dirt, no shoes.
Oh, wow.
Safe to say Gilbert Arenas will not be an honorary ambassador to the UN anytime soon.
Man.
Speaking of which, the U.S. women's soccer We Hate America team has shut out Zambia 3-0. So we're really pounding on the Africans so far.
Goody.
And finally, finished watching round 4 of the British Open last night because I was floating down the river Sunday and missed it. Pretty amazing that as much as we suck in tennis right now, America rules the golf world. For the first time since 1982, all 4 majors won by the U.S. Who won in 82? Who were the 4 golfers? And I'll give you a hint. It was really only 3.
In 82? In 82. Oh, wow.
3 Americans.
Nicholas?
Nope.
Arnold Palmer?
Nope.
Gary
82.
Player? Americans.
Arnold Palmer's
Americans.
winning in 82.
In 82. Well, I don't know. Well, God.
Ben Hogan.
Billy Casper?
Nope.
Well,
Also
I could
way
do this
too
for a long time. I guess I don't know.
Craig Stadler.
Oh, the Walrus.
The Walrus.
And then
he won
lost,
the Masters.
And then he lost all his weight, and he couldn't win again until he gained his weight back. That was a true story.
Tom Watson won both the U.S. Open and British Open. And your good friend Raymond Floyd won the PGA.
Ray Floyd, yeah, he was.
Ray
He
Floyd.
always looked like a swordsman. He was a hustler too, man. No, he was a ladies' man. He was a dandy.
Oh, what?
He had chicks.
He looked like Conway Twitty on a bad weekend.
I promise you, Ray Floyd was a ladies' guy. There were lots of stories. I promise you, there were lots of Ray Floyd stories about hitting all the bars for the ladies in the tournaments and their daughters.
On this day, July 25th, 1926, the Braves coach Art Devlin and Reds third baseman Bob Pinelli fight between innings. It got so bad, police had to come in and restore order. But Boston outfitter Frank Wilson was arrested and taken to jail for hitting a policeman while he was in the middle.
Jeez. Holy smokes. And on this day in history, I think we can all remember this. It was 1990. And Roseanne Barr was singing the Star-Spangled Banner for some reason at the San Diego Padres game. And 1990, she grabbed her crotch and spit at the end of it, and she deliberately sang it horribly, screaming, and they booed the crap out of her. And I remember watching it, and then, of course, there's replays all over the place, and she described later she was just trying to, mock the baseball players, but it was just so poor taste. I mean, whoever thought it would, in any way that it would be amusing in any way?
Her agent was a part owner of the Padres, Tom Werner Casey or something at the time, so that's why she did it.
Oh,
her agent or producer who produced her show or somebody like that.
Yeah, but they couldn't. Nobody. Who would have told her? Hey, by the way, make sure you scream for the M and then spit and grab your crotch. Anyway, golly, 5:26. Kim, Pete, and Flounder. You want to do a little Kambanga here? Are we ready to tie up to Shannon, or do we
let me check and see when Shannon's ready.
Okay, while you do that, I have an important day in history I wanted to pass along to you, which I even did some extra research on last night. It was on this day. What's the matter? It was on this day in 1917. Exotic dancer Mata Hari is convicted in a French court of spying for the Germans in World War I. 10 weeks later, guards shake her awake early in the morning, give her paper and pen, and say you can write 2 notes. She dons black stockings, high heels, a velvety cloak with a fur collar, and says, I'm ready. At 5:30 a.m. on the outskirts of Paris, she faces 12 French officers with rifles. She's offered a silk blindfold. Mata Hari says, must I? And they say, no, if you don't want to. And she says, I don't. She rejects the blindfold and then blows a kiss to the riflemen as they fire. Mata Hari. Yowie. Exotic dancer, spy, 1917. 5:27, Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder, 404-741-1230 if you want to join us, 404-741-1230. Vice President Carmela Sidepiece was addressing one of the teachers' unions today, and she's quoted as saying, I remember my teachers because they were the ones who taught me how to learn. And if you're teaching people to learn, they can also teach other people about the teaching and the importance of having teachers so you can learn things from teachers. So, unquote, Carmela Sidepiece. It was an incredible, good Lord.
Do you think she's a drunk? Because you see some of these things she says, she looks like she's drunk out there.
Flounder, do we still have...
just improvising because she doesn't know what to say?
Do we still have the cuts from yesterday of her? I remember she tried to pretend she was speaking French, and then one time she was talking to Filipino.
Yeah, here's where she's talking drunk.
Oh, my God. Check this
Never
out.
let anyone take your joy from you. I call myself a joyful warrior. Right? Never let anyone take your joy from you. You do what you gotta do. And isn't that a wonderful way to live? To know you have purpose.
That's a drunk at the end of the bar talking to you.
Hey, at 3 in the morning.
Seriously. Isn't that wonderful?
I can drive.
Shannon Burke.
Hey, boys. What's happening?
Shannon, how's it going, man? What's going on?
Oh, I'm just trying to, figure out what's real and what's not.
Yeah. Did you watch that speech last night?
I watched it rather intently, expecting a lot more than I got. I was really let down.
Well, he never did answer the question. He said he did it for unity. Why why now for unity? And he said, it'd be time to turn it over to younger person. Why now to younger person? He never answered the question. And the White House had been skimming around it all day long. And clearly, if it wasn't the voice of God that told him to drop out, like he said, or doctors told him to drop out, like they denied it had anything to do with his health, then why'd you drop out? He didn't answer the question.
He went from 100 miles an hour to a dead halt in a weekend. I mean, he was. I'm in. Oh, I'm just out of them.
So what happened? Why? Again, they're not. The answer is here. They threatened him, and in fact, now there's. I don't know whether you heard, Shannon. There's a group that's demanding the Speaker of the House open an actual investigation to see whether the Democrat Party actually threatened him with the 25th Amendment and performed a coup.
That would be a coup, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Well, it is a coup. They performed a coup against Trump, and they performed a coup against their own guy.
And
even Black Lives Matter said it was wrong.
A couple of coups against Bernie Sanders thrown in there too, for good measure.
There you go.
Yeah. It's amazing to me. What angers you more, the fact that there's not a formal process here, or because I would imagine we would go to, like everyone said, a mini primary, a quick primary, whatever you're going to call it, and we'd settle out who is going to be the candidate at the convention.
Well, honestly,
that still may be the case.
I can't even get to that point. At this point, it doesn't matter to me. It's all fake. I don't care whether they do a mini primary. It doesn't matter. The power brokers made the decisions on this a long time ago. And what bothers me most is not where we are right now. What bothers me most is how we got here. These insider people all knew exactly what he was like, what he was capable of doing or not doing, and they've been lying to us and faking us out and tricking us as soon ago as just before, as recently, I should say, right before the debate. And that's why America, the people who are not political, but they said, oh, he's fine, everything's good, another 4 years. And then they tuned into that debate and were holding their breath saying, oh my God, what happened? Remember the video pictures of even his supporters who are not, they aren't with him every day, but they're longtime Democrat supporters. They've all been told, boy, we got the leadership we need. It's all good. We're going to kill Trump and everything else, politically, of course. And then all of a sudden, they were watching. Remember the video reports of them holding their hands over their faces, gasping, going, oh my God, what happened? I mean, seriously, what happened? He froze and he said, we beat Medicare. Oh my God. And he froze and he couldn't speak. And they were going, oh my God. That's what I complain about. The whole thing for the last 4 years has been a scam and an anti-American treasonous political stunt by these people for the purpose of power.
Power corrupts, absolutely.
Yes, it does.
Does it not? And who has absolute power here? Because someone does.
Here's
the point. I still don't believe there is a chance she may not be the candidate. Obama hasn't kissed the situation yet. You've got donors like John Morgan's been all over television complaining that there was not this is a woman who's had not a single vote.
I know.
Everyone notices it. A lot of liberals notice it. Yeah. So maybe for once they're sick and tired of the machine.
Well, in fact, even Puttitat has
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter is the only group that said this is wrong. The only liberal group that says this can't.
And we're agreeing with them.
Yeah. And by the way, talk about throwing her under the bus. She was responsible as much as anybody for getting them millions of dollars.
Yeah.
She bailed out the Black Lives. Bailed them out. And then remember? Oh my God. Yeah. So she's got that going for her. And Puttitat, by the way, says, a source close to the Biden family says that Barack Hussein Puttitat, is not wanting to endorse her because, quote, he's angry that President Crime Family, the child molester, Joe, Biden is angry that Joe so quickly endorsed her. He's furious. This is the insider quote. Obama's upset because he knows she can't win. She's incompetent. The border czar who never visited the border, saying all migrants should have free health insurance. She can't navigate the landmines that are ahead of her, unquote, Barack Hussein Puttitat. He wanted Arizona Senator, former astronaut Mark Kelly at the top of the ticket. And now they're saying, well, since it's too late, he's eventually going to come out and campaign with her and support her.
Why is it too late? If they can wave the magic wand and make her the candidate, or the assumed candidate, they can wave the same wand and make her go to convention.
Well, okay, here's what it would mean. It would mean that not only did the Democrats lie to us so deliberately and so brutally that the entire country realized that Joe could not be the ticket holder. So they got rid of him. And now we're going to have them also say, well, we all have come out in support of Carmela, but, by golly, now a couple weeks later, we're going to change our mind again and get rid of another coup? I mean, there's no way they can do 3 coups. How could they do 3 coups in one season? I mean,
that's a lot of coups.
Holy crap.
They might not have it in them to do 3
I mean,
coups.
think about it. How could they perform 3 coups, their own people, the last 2 coups that they performed, getting rid of them?
There's going to be some overtime work this weekend, fellas. We got another coup to plan.
I mean, good Lord. I mean, this is the most... God, I wish I would live another 50 or 60 years. I would love to have people looking back, oh, my God, that really happened? I mean, this last 8 years really has been unbelievable.
It has been the most incredible political 3 to 5 8 years in my life. May I say, if you don't mind, Pete,
sure.
One of the funniest things I think I've ever heard you say, I don't even know who you're talking about, but you referred to this man as Conway Twitty on a bad weekend.
That was Raymond Floyd, the golfer.
Yeah, Conway Twitty on a bad weekend. I'm going to enter that. I'm going to put that in the Rolodex. That's a good one. And then I got to find out what this guy looks like.
Well, this is back in the 70s and 80s. God, right. He was a famous golfer. He was a swashbuckler type guy.
What do we do? What does Biden do for the next 6 months?
Well, trying to work on some kind of legacy. It's got to be. I assume he's probably going to try to help some kind of a conclusion to the Hamas situation with Israel. And if they can pull that off together, then he'll claim credit for it, like Jimmy Carter with the famous peace thing with the 2 sides getting together at Camp David. And so, but other than that, I mean, he can't single-handedly claim anything and do anything about the economy. And the borders, and I mean, what are the other issues? Our security and safety and wars. I mean, what's he going to do?
I found oddly missing from last night's speech was that there has been an assassination attempt on a former president during his presidency. That's a pretty remarkable thing to happen.
Yeah. And again, it was also just still filled with hate. He talked about we need to bring back respect and decency to America. He was slamming Donald Trump the entire freaking speech. I kept writing these notes and I said, oh my God, he wants to unite the party, and we had the worst attack since the Civil War because of the Republicans. And he wants to reform the Supreme Court, and he blew the all men are created equal again. Changed the words on that. This man gave a political hate speech from the Oval Office on videotape. He couldn't even do it live. They were so afraid he was going to screw it up. This is the bottom line about how incompetent he is. They couldn't even try. And by the way, how offensive is that? It should have been now live from the White House, this important announcement live from your president. Instead, they had to put it on tape because they couldn't trust him. I mean, that's just offensive. That's insulting and offensive. And every time he says all of a sudden, I mentioned this earlier, Shannon, if you've noticed, the last few months, every time he gives a speech or a comment or a address to somebody, he'll end it with, God bless our troops. Go to hell on that. Now, you don't deserve to be even thinking that out loud because it's a freaking lie. You and your entire damn Department of Defense, including that defense contractor who's ahead of it.
What do you think about Netanyahu's visit and his speech?
He's a great speaker. I mean, I didn't hear it all, but I had enough sound bites and parts of it to know. I mean, he
makes me want to go get some KFC chicken.
Yeah, right.
That's a good one.
And then he said, you gay people for Hamas. You go over there and see how you like it when they throw you off a building. He said it's like chickens to want to go to KFC. I mean, it was a brilliant speech. It's not going to do any good with anything. And again, Carmela boycotted it so she could go to talk to sorority sisters someplace.
Basically, she boycotted. That's her first foreign policy thing, is to boycott our biggest ally over in Israel, and start off her campaign at RuPaul's drag show today. That's the America she wants.
She's gone for the protests of last night of the Democrat Jew haters for the Hamas, for the Israeli Prime Minister's visit, and then she skips the meeting. And of course, her comments later today are, we condemn violence of any kind. Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah,
but again, she just became the head of the ticket, and the one crisis in the world that she would have some kind of direct involvement is, if this keeps going, would be what's going on with our biggest ally in the Middle East, Israel, and Hamas, and she skips it. Her first chance to do an international meeting of the minds together, and she takes off to her sorority girls.
She's chosen the barbarians.
There's no way that she could communicate with Netanyahu with any knowledge of that situation.
Oh, he would. I guarantee he knows she's a laughing stock. She's not capable of being a leader on international affairs in any way. She was the one who bailed out all the people who committed all the violence in America. She's the biggest liberal. In fact, I've got that Gov of Track. Remember I don't know if you hear about the website. Yeah. She's the most liberal senator in America, and totally incompetent. Nothing to do with world affairs, and she skips the one chance she had to do something.
Let me ask you. I've asked Kimmer this. I'm going to ask you, Shannon. How many people in your life have you known had Marxist professors as fathers?
0.
Both Barack Obama and Kamala have Marxist professors as fathers, and they're the two biggest jobs in the country, maybe the world. How the hell does that happen?
Yeah. Well,
by choice.
At least she represents America's Jimindicans, because the woman's not. Well, I mean, Jimindicans everywhere. Boy, whether you're from Jamaica or in really either one, Jimindicans are all uniting for her, and I think she's going to probably show the way about our new attitude toward Jimindicans everywhere.
I heard a comedian say today that one of her parents is Jamaican, the other one is Indian, and he said they must have met at a 7-Eleven robbery.
7-Eleven robbery. Yeah, hijacking in a parking lot.
I wish that was my
That's
joke.
pretty
It's
funny.
not. Yeah, it's really funny.
Oh my God! Oh man, what's going on here? I can't believe any of that. And that speech, I still can't get over that offensive, disgusting hate speech from the Oval Office.
You guys agree that she will be the candidate. There's no changes.
Well, Pete just started wondering whether it's not too late. Put it that again. What if he came out and said, "No, we got to go with the former astronaut in Arizona"?
They do it.
Mark Kelly or something.
Well, they would.
But how could they do another coup? They couldn't do 3 coups.
They can't do it. They can't do another one. They can't say that she can't do it.
Why would it be
for a white man?
She hasn't been chosen by the party.
Well, they all had to come out and support her. Now they're the only people against her were Black Lives Matter. Yeah. Every Democrat and all the leaders, Nancy, but they all now have come out except Putty Tat. All the rest of them have said, yes, we're strongly behind it. We have to help her pick a VP. Now, who can maybe she'll pick Mark Kelly to make Putty Tat happy.
The DNC has just gotten Joe Biden a nice parting gift. It's a brand new Coupe de Ville.
With curb feelers on it and a fur steering wheel.
Wow. Do you
dice hanging from the rear view mirror?
Is there anybody that thinks that she can win? Anybody?
They do. In fact, I just saw a headline. I just saw a headline about 20 minutes ago, and it said Carmella is closing the gap in the latest poll. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it.
The border czar, it looks like it's going to stick, and they don't want it to stick.
Thank God. Every time you say her name, you got to say Vice President, the border czar. I mean, everybody has to mention it every time you mention her name, so it doesn't ever go away.
I mean, they've passed a resolution now, she's the border czar.
And 6 Democrats voted for it.
Amazing.
That's a great sign.
And Chris Wray, at the same time, on the Hill, warning of what he called a border terrorist attack, meaning an attack by a terrorist that gained access to the border at the same time. And that's tagged on the czar. Nobody's fault, but the czar's fault.
Well, it seems to me, if I were the border czar, the first thing I would do would say, okay, FBI, you're in charge of security for our nation. And if people are committing crimes in our nation that require federal authority because they're crossing over an international border or crossing state lines, that requires effort from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, not the CIA, not the State Department, the FBI. I would have demanded that the FBI send thousands of agents armed to the teeth to the border. And when people come over, sneak across, they get handcuffed and they get put in holding cells and then they get sent right the hell back. Why isn't the FBI, as far as I know, the FBI has not arrested one single rapist or the panty trees where they rape all the little girls coming over. The mothers in Mexico have actually given their 13 and 12-year-old daughters the date rape and morning after pill. So because they say you're going to get raped, so make sure you have this on you for after they rape you so you don't get pregnant. I mean, these are true stories. I'm not making these up. The raped trees with their panties as trophies on the over the side of the border. How come the FBI hasn't arrested those people? How come the FBI isn't there trying to track these people down? And yet this scumbag Christopher Wray, the disgrace of Atlanta, suspected Russian double agent, says, "Oh well, we've investigated a lot of cartel people." It's yeah, that's fine. How come you haven't arrested anybody on the freaking border? All the people with the fentanyl, all the people sneaking across. I mean, how come you've never arrested them? How come you didn't stop them? They're violating the law.
Now, hopefully, with a Trump win, we get a top-to-bottom 3-letter bureaucracy cleanup.
Absolutely.
It's the only
First
way.
thing, yeah.
And they'll call that a coup. They'll say, well, how dare you? No one's ever done such a thing.
It won't matter. The fun thing, if Trump wins, finally, we can just ignore them. When they start screaming and yelling about, oh, it's just not fair, he's going to get after his enemy, say, just ignore them. Like they don't count.
Right.
Because they've been hurting our country deliberately, trying to change the nature and the culture of our very nation. And I don't forgive them. And I say we cut them out as soon as we can and permanently and make them suffer, make them lose their homes, charge them all with crimes and put them into court and deposition. Everyone in charge of that phony Jan 6 committee, all the people in charge of all these scandals been going on, all the political efforts, the Russian misinformation, just all that stuff. Get the Republicans to get them all in front of a judge and jury for the crimes they've committed against this country and Donald Trump.
During Netanyahu's speech, disgusting things happened on the grounds of the Capitol, taking down American flags, spray painting monuments, and my guess is the 23 people were arrested. My guess is they walked right out after they fingerprinted them. They'll probably drop the charges.
Protesters. Yeah, it's okay to do it for George Floyd and burn down America if you're a liberal, and Carmela can help bail you out from jail. But God forbid, if the January 6 people who also trespassed and maybe spray painted some things went to solitary confinement.
Still there.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a guy doing, I'm sure there's more than one, but at least one doing time right now because he burned a rainbow flag. I mean.
Well, if you remember the kid who drove his bicycle over the rainbow flag on the street, charged with a hate crime. If you drive your cars over the rainbow flag, you can be charged with a hate crime. How come it's not a hate crime to burn the American flag as part of a protest that doesn't affect you? These people weren't afraid of going to Vietnam and being drafted. They don't have a fight in Hamas. They're not fighting for their country. They're just Jew haters. And this isn't politics. This is religious hatred. This isn't political. This is hatred of religious people.
Right. You're absolutely right. It should be a hate crime. Spray painting
it is a hate
monument.
Crime. That's right.
Spray painting a monument ought to get you at least
a year. Federal crime.
It ought to get you shot. Yeah. They ought to be able to walk in there and start shooting the sumbitches. I'm not kidding.
It's a federal crime.
I'm right there. Marching like Napoleon with the cannons and blow the barricades out and knock their legs off.
And by the way, how come nobody stopped it? I mean, one guy tried to grab the flag and they turned on him. But still, how come nobody was there to say, no, wait a minute, you can't go up there? And how come
they arrest you?
Yeah.
Well,
you harmed one of them.
Yeah. And the cops are outnumbered. And if they're not at every position, it's just appalling.
There's not a police organization anywhere near that city, and there's plenty in that city.
Oh, in fact,
that's staffed up.
Check this out. I've just got an update right here. Anti-Israeli agitators spark new unrest. Hold on a second here. Update story. Park Police Union chairman blames the administration staffing issues during the anti-Israeli protests. The head of the Fraternal Order of Police. I got to get my goggles on here. It's disheartening here. Members of Congress say the officers gave anti-Israel agitators a pass last night. The chairman said, we made several attempts despite only having 29 police available, no additional help from the Department of the Interior. That's why it's so disheartening to hear members of Congress and members of the media describing themselves as champions of law enforcement, suggesting we gave them a pass or didn't make enough arrests. Nothing could be further from the truth. The Interior Department and the National Park Service have stood in the way of congressional action of the Park Service Modernization Act, which would solve many of these issues for decades to come. But they're not doing it. The administration blocked it. They let it happen.
Man.
Typically. This is what they do.
I know you. I know your record of service, Cameron, and I'm very happy for it. And I know that you deplore people burning the flag. Trump has come out with a thing. He thinks you ought to do a year in jail. Where do you come down on that?
Well, okay, I do believe in law and order. I do believe basically in Supreme Court issues, stuff like that. If you're part of a political protest and a flag's being burned, I can understand as part of a political protest. But if you're just a hater and you're burning an American flag as a symbol of something else entirely, that's not political protest. That's not protected speech by political protest. So as far as I'm concerned, it's damage to property or unruly behavior, or there's going to be a whole bunch of sources. And there ought to be a federal crime if you're doing it on federal property and using federal property. Again,
and it's not your flag.
If you bring your own flag and you set fire to your own flag, have a ball. But if you take my flag down, guess what? You're going to the hospital.
The more.
It wouldn't be the first time.
And if you took a federally owned flag down and burned it,
that's federal property. That's not protected protest. That's a federal crime of violating federal property, of trespassing, and all. I mean, you could have all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Boys, I always love talking to you. It's always easy to find the camera.
One last thing.
Yes, sir.
Just remember, this is the first time that Kamala's career has been advanced by a man pulling out.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Hoorah! Shannon Burke. Hey, ho.
Thanks, guys.
Adios, my friend. Talk to you next week. Have a good one. 5:49. Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. We still have Flounder's Funnies, and
yeah, we can stick around till around 56:08. We'll get out. Or do you want to take a break here? It's up to you.
Well, I don't care. I just want to be able to back time the last comedy, the last Flounder's Funny.
All right, we'll take a quick break.
I'll do a thing here. 10 before 6, and then we'll wrap it up with all we got. Look at it. Oh, here we go.
Join Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. This week's guest is Josh Forbes with Scram Systems. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
I enjoy a good night's sleep, and I like to breathe while I'm sleeping. My wife appreciates that, too. That's why I wear a CPAP. You want the right machine. You want expert advice. You want all the supplies that go with it. You get it all at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. Machines, masks, tubing, filters, cleaning supplies, all of it, and they ship nationwide. Walk-ins, by the way, are welcome. CPAPs, etc. Alpharetta, CPAPSETC.com.
Show presented by Dallas Safari Club, Georgia Drive Chevy, and Georgia Outdoor News, starting July 26th through the 28th at the Lake Point Champion Center in Emerson, Georgia. Get ready for a weekend packed with excitement. Savor mouth-watering dishes at our Barbecue Village, featuring top-rated barbecue from 441 South, Inked Pig, Das Barbecue, and Crow's Barbecue. Meet former UGA quarterback Jake Fromm on Friday and Saturday as he shares stories from the gridiron and his outdoor adventures. Think you got what it takes? Enter the 30-30 Ministries $1,000 shootout on Saturday. Break a raw egg from 45 feet, qualify for the finals, and compete to win $1,000. And don't miss the 35th annual Truck Buck Shootout on Sunday. Watch as the best Georgia deer hunters compete for the Furminator G3 food plot implement and a brand new truck from John Meagle Chevy. For more information, visit GON.com. Georgia Outdoor News, Georgia's ultimate resource for hunting and fishing.
This is Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons. We've always been Atlanta's best at installing and servicing garage and entry doors, but you would be surprised at how many windows we've installed as well. So we're proud to announce a new division, All Four Seasons Windows. We now have the ability to make sure every opening in your house is safe, energy efficient, and looks darn good. So give us a call today to schedule your free sales consultation. Find out how you can decrease your energy bills and increase the beauty and value of your home with All Four Seasons garage, entry doors, and windows.
A musician with technical knowledge can play all the right notes, but one who cares enough to play from the heart gives music soul. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking, because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit Truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial banks.
Know the way I feel tonight.
Roy Orbison singing for you.
Only the lonely.
1960. Roy Orbison only reached number 2 on the chart with Only the Lonely. Was his first big hit. I thought this was number 1 for sure. The song was turned down by the Everly Brothers and Elvis. So Roy Orbison decided to just record the damn thing himself. Number 2, Roy Orbison. Boy, he must have had his heart broken, crying, or she turned around and walked away with me. I mean, all those. Oh man, all those songs. But I loved him. When I was a teenager, man, those songs really got to me. I wonder why that. Someday I'm going to try to ponder this kind of stuff.
Got a therapist.
Well, it was a time, when I'm, trying to get a girlfriend and wondering about love and future and the war was, there's all kinds of, at that time in the 60s, from early to mid 60s, late 60s was a really weird decade. Anyway, 5:55, Kim, Repeat, and Flounder. And this day in 1956, the sinking of the Andrea Doria. The Italian vessel collided in heavy fog with a Swedish ocean liner Stockholm off the coast of Nantucket. 51 people were killed and other 1,600 passengers were rescued before the Andrea Doria sank early the next morning off Massachusetts. 5:55, and Donald Trump can continue his defamation lawsuit against George Stephanopoulos and ABC when Stephanopoulos was doing an interview with Nancy Mace, and he kept saying Donald Trump is guilty of rape. And he said it like 10 times in the interview. He's guilty of rape. The judge said he raped that girl. And, of course, that's not true. It was a sexual assault or whatever. But anyway, so he can continue suing Stephanopoulos, which is amazing to me because normally a public figure can't be libeled unless you can prove that it's actual malice. But anyway, the New York Times case and the Butts case, and we got a few there. Let's see. 5:56. The story, Jennifer, I feel so sad about this. I don't know why. I don't really care about these people. I love them as Ben Affleck's acting. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. Jennifer Lopez the other day, if you've seen the video of this, it's unbelievable. She came out with a celebration birthday party. She turned 55 yesterday. She had a big party over the weekend in the Hamptons, inspired by Bridgerton, this new bash thing. Ballroom dancers, live orchestra, horse-drawn carriages, blue ball gowns, mesh gloves, gold platform heels. They had crowns, all the entire party guest and Regency-era attire from her Netflix series. And at the meantime, while she was partying to celebrate her birthday, Ben Affleck was home in Los Angeles doing errands. And then for her birthday, actually yesterday, she showed videos of her wearing blue pajamas and a happy birthday headband, looking at her cake and bouquets of flowers and thanking all the people for all the wonderful wishes, even at a time when sometimes we are fragile and frightened, but always full of love and hope. Fragile and frightened. And the divorce is imminent. They put the house up on the market, and that's a ball game. All right, one story. I love this story. A boy named Drake Lynn, Georgia. Calhoun, riding in a passenger as his grandfather's pickup truck. They were towing a boat they'd picked up from Dalton. And Papa, the 68-year-old guy, was on the phone with a co-worker, and all of a sudden he stopped talking and fell unconscious. The little boy, 10-year-old Drake Lynn, says, I didn't know what was going on. I was scared. The co-worker on the phone said, call your mom. And his son said, just jump into a grandfather's lap and start driving the car over to the shoulder. Then the call cut out. The little boy said, the mother said, I thought that was probably the last time I was going to hear my voice of my little son. I was desperate. It was whole, out of control. I didn't know what to do. The grandfather's a diabetic, and they wouldn't give him his glucose monitoring stuff because they had a problem with his freaking insurance at the drugstore. Anyway, the little boy jumped on his lap. He said, I was really scared. I don't know what to do. I don't want him to die. The dispatcher said, well, just get over to the side of the road. Again, this 10-year-old kid is driving the pickup truck, towing a trailer and a boat. And the grandfather said, I usually go do it myself. If he had done it himself, he'd be dead. The 10-year-old boy saved him, pulled over to the side of the road safely. He's gotten a citizen award. The police departments and the county's going nuts. What a great story. Congratulations, 10-year-old Drake Lynn. You saved a couple of lives, my friend. 558, Timber Bean Flounder, Flounder's Funnies.
Do you ever have a friend you've known a long time tell you something that just blows your mind? Today, my best friend, who I've known my whole life, revealed to me that he's imaginary.
Revealed it, didn't
I didn't see that coming. I was talking to my other friends. He said to me, if you had a time machine, would you go back in time and kill baby Hitler? Here's the thing. I'm a dad. I don't think I could kill a baby. But I could strangle teenage Hitler. Imagine what a nightmare he must have been. My teenage daughter thinks she knows everything. We're starting to regret naming her Alexa.
Hey, Kimber Pete Flounder, tomorrow's Let Her Rip Friday, and I gotta go. You're killing me. Hoorah, Semper Fi, Christine, sing me home, baby. And tomorrow, have a little fun here on 106.3. Look out, Semper Fi, herp, herp.
Is WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. Locally owned and heard throughout Georgia on the XTRA app.